Welcome to Things That Are News.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Things That Are News. The show where a couple of guys and sometimes a lady hang out and talk about all the things that happen in the world this week. I'm your host, Jeff. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Bailey.
Hello.
And we got a super special guest who's been on here 47 times at this point, but she's back because she lives here. Christine.
Hello.
You excited to be here?
I am.
Feel like begrudgingly just you're back on
It's
the
like
podcast?
I had nothing else to do since
Nothing
I'll
else
join the
going on?
podcast.
Bailey's already here.
I'm already here. What am I going to do? Be quiet in the background? No.
It's either talk to us or be quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here I am.
Here you are.
Yep.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here.
I also
says begrudgingly.
I heard you asked specifically to be on this podcast as well because you really believe in flat Earth.
All the way.
All the way.
Hey,
We can't feel it moving when we're driving, so it has to be flat.
This is the perfect podcast for Christine to be on. 'Cause sometimes we need a scientist's opinion.
Yeah.
Me and Bailey are both very successful university dropouts.
Yep.
So we're going to bring a full-blown
At least
science...
you're successful at something.
Yeah, I succeeded at successfully dropping out. And I did beat Donkey Kong 64 right after I dropped out.
Well, that's quite an
I
accomplishment.
had to pick one or the other, and I'm like, what really is more important?
And to be fair, we both beat all of Skyrim while we were in universities. So
I'm very proud.
Thank
You
you.
I
should
was
insert a
hammered for
clapping
95% of it.
an applause thing right now.
Thank you.
I was drunk I don't think I remember much of Skyrim. Played 95% of that game at like 3 a.m. coming home from bars.
Yeah, that was pretty much our life. I was just stoned all day long.
I'm glad I didn't know you both then.
Oh, you would have loved me.
Oh, I bet.
I was
Would have walked
jacked.
right by.
I stole so much shit.
We were.
Statute of limitations up yet? Fucking, that Dairy Queen right near me? Oh, man.
Oh, I saw your house afterwards.
Oh, man. All the posters.
I used to,
Backyard full of stolen bicycles.
Oh,
I was hustling the worst of legal things like baked apple pies and homemade bread.
Oh, yeah. Back in when you used to make me all the pies.
Yeah.
That's fucking dope. Bailey taught me how to make pie.
Yeah.
From scratch.
I haven't ever seen you make a pie.
I don't remember it. I was probably drunk when he taught me, but
Pretty sure he's playing Skyrim.
bomb-ass pie.
All right, well, there you go.
I peeled the apples. That was my job.
Okay, it's a good job.
And they were well peeled.
It's
bet.
well peeled.
Well peeled.
They contributed
best
to the good $12 I made out of that pie, and then I went and bought groceries with it.
All right,
300% markup.
nice.
Thank you. I
And
tried
then
to be
And to be
ingenuitive.
able
Hustle
to buy a
hard.
6-pack of
Hustle
Old
hard.
Milwaukee, and then we drink for the night. It was a good gig.
All right.
You should hustle more pies. Anyway, we're doing a podcast. So
Yes.
welcome back to Pie Talk. What's your favorite pie, Bailey?
Rhubarb strawberry.
Oh, don't fucking say
Why would you say rhubarb before strawberry? Everyone
say
knows it's
strawberry
strawberry
rhubarb
rhubarb. Come on.
Strawberry rhubarb, then. Motherfuckers.
Anyway, we have a
Anyway.
sponsor for the show this week.
Do
Very
we?
exciting.
Oh, really? It's in the first part?
Yeah, I didn't forget about it this week.
Okay.
Off the top, we're going to remember it while I'm still somewhat sober.
All right.
All right.
This week's show is brought to you by Halls. It tastes just enough like dick that you think it might have medicine in it.
Just spit it out.
Maybe I should be more drunk for these. Take two? Moving on. We're going to start things off like we always do. We're going to go into some rapid-fire news.
Rapidy rapping?
Rapid-fire. Christine, we're not probably going to ask what your opinion is, but pipe in if you feel necessary.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, well, we get your
This is
opinion.
how you get treated when it's your third time on the podcast.
Yeah, we don't
guys.
have to treat you nice anymore.
Yeah, and we kind of know you're going to give your opinion after either way.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I
Walk
mean,
off?
I'm gonna give my opinion. I'm sitting here. What do you?
What are you
Exactly.
going to do? Walk off the set? You live here. Where are you going to go?
I'm gonna walk all the way to the other end of the room over here.
Yeah, I'm going to sit next to Jack.
And
with
just
us.
stare at you.
Yeah. Anyway, Bailey, what's our first news story this week?
First news story isn't too newsy, but it kind of is because I love the show. Rick and Morty has a merch truck, and it's going to be touring Canada and the United States. But it's dope. Two questions, though. First, I don't know what type of merch they're going to sell. I'm assuming like T-shirts and copies of the past seasons.
Well, did you see that they have the pop figures, like the?
Oh yeah, of course they have pop figures.
Yeah.
Justin Roiland is like a genius.
Yeah. So there you go. That's on the truck. That's got to be on the
Yo,
truck.
he just gave a rant at the VR conference. He made 2 VR games in the past year. But that's a whole sidetrack. The funny part is it's Rick on all fours, like bent over, drooling, drunk. But so that means the car cab is like in his butt.
Yeah.
So, like, as it's driving down the highway, if you see it coming towards you, you're just
You look in your rearview mirror, it's a butt.
It's just a big butt that, like
that.
nondescript. You wouldn't even know it's Rick. It's just before after he wore blue pants.
Okay.
So it's brown pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you get that reference, because
I
we're
didn't
nerds.
remember his pants changing.
In season 3, episode 1.
Oh my god! Don't even roll your eyes at me.
It's the only episode of the season.
That
You
was
should have watched 47 times by now. I memorized every line from the show.
I'm sorry. We watched it.
I used to wear blue pants. It says in the show.
the one time.
Okay.
But let's move
Anyway.
on from that. So
It's word 72 through 78 of the episode.
one that would please us as well as our fans, if we have any, is that Bombay.
My mom listens.
Hey, but so Bombay Gin recalled their gin.
Their
But they
chin.
didn't recall something else.
I would hope so, because
They recalled their pineapples.
they fucked up and made their pineapples too pineapple-y.
They're 2 pineapples.
But their gin, which is supposed to be 40%, was 71%. So some old dude probably got way too drunk at a family reunion.
You know how many DUIs there probably was?
A lot.
I only had one drink, I swear.
Oh, so many people are going to use the Bombay defense.
Yeah.
The Bombay
Bombay
defense.
The Bombay defense.
The Bombay defense of 2017.
I had like 1 gin and tonic, and I'm just lit as fuck.
To
But I
be-
mean, I only had one, so I figured I'd still be alright to drive, even
Yeah.
though I'm spinning. It's fine.
No, it like kicks in, you know? You're like in the middle of driving and it kicks
You're just
in.
like, what?
Wow.
You have 10 glasses in front of you. That's how drunk
That's how
driving
driving.
works.
Watch
Drunk
the next
driving, yeah.
next season of Suits. Harvey Specter will use that in his defense. Just watch.
Yeah.
Just watch. Harvey Specter
Yeah, I
versus
watched
Bombay.
Suits, for sure.
Don't watch Suits.
It's not worth
It's
it.
okay at best. I stopped watching after the main character went to jail, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I've already seen Prison Break. It's okay.
Spoilers, bud. Come
Yeah.
on. That's pretty far into the TV series.
Yeah, it's like the most recent season that happened. Yeah, but he's a criminal. You know he's going to get arrested eventually. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
We've seen the commercials on TV.
I know.
He's wearing an orange jumpsuit. It's fine.
The whole shot. That's
He's not at a costume party.
that. Don't want.
Maybe.
Yeah, don't watch
never
Suits.
know.
You're just gonna get mad the whole time. It's like, why is he not caught yet? Like, oh, that's. I
Yeah, he
don't.
just makes stupid decisions. He's just like, oh yeah, I can be high up in this law firm. I can be in newspapers.
Yeah, like
I can say I went to Harvard to this person who runs the Harvard Alumni Association.
Do you know the premise?
Sorry.
Do you know the premise?
Yeah, I watched a few episodes.
Okay, so then as
So,
long as
I get what...
What's
yeah.
the premise, Christine?
Well, the guy you just said it. Like, he lies about who he is, and he says he's a lawyer, and he's not.
yeah.
And he works as a lawyer.
Yeah, and he works as a
But
lawyer.
he has like photographic memory, so he's like really good at being a lawyer. But he got
Yeah.
kicked out of law school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
And you just described the whole TV show in a
Yeah.
minute.
There you go. It's done.
It's like, oh no, are they going to catch me being a lawyer? Oh no, mergers. Oh no, partners.
Oh no,
Oh,
I'm
no,
an
woman
investment
lawyer.
banker.
Now I'm an investment banker for a season. Oh wait, that didn't work. I'm back to being a lawyer again.
Before the next story is what always bothered me is somehow he felt better about being a lawyer than being an investment banker. Like they're both equally like not necessarily morally
Yeah, but he was the
justifiable.
lawyer who was always like, we should take this good case.
Oh, because his parents died.
Yeah. Then he was like, fuck this insurance company who only gave me $200,000 because my parents died.
Yeah, fuck them. I'm gonna sue them all.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one.
All right.
Since we got ADD and so
Yeah,
now we're
fuck
into
Suits.
Suits.
Speaking of the Bombay defense, do you think they'll use it for this next news story, Bailey?
Oh, yes, I think they will use the Bombay defense.
Segues.
Masterful segue.
Oh, God.
we
Last time
did
I
it.
was on here, you were yelling at Bailey for segues. Now you're the one doing them.
Because I do them much better than Bailey.
That was pretty smooth.
Bailey's like,
Speaking of animals.
speaking of gin, if you were to drink gin in an amusement park, would you throw up? I got a throw it up news story.
Oh, jeez. Okay, but for those of you in the U.S. of A. or abroad, Canada,
Nobody.
I can guarantee we have at least one listener in Singapore.
We have a Ghana listener.
We have a Ghana listener.
If you're listening in Ghana, slide into my DMs. I'm curious.
Yeah,
as to what
shout
you're all
out to
about.
you.
Yeah.
Shout out, email thingsthatarnews@gmail.com.
I want to racistly guess your name, but I won't. 'Cause I don't want
Is
to.
it the person who called you gay, maybe?
Oh, it's probably the person who called me gay. On Instagram.
He's just following you to talk shit.
The one person who did slide into my DMs, just so everyone knows, is the one person who sent me a picture that said, you're so gay, why are you such a faggot? So,
Not that
someone
we-
else, please slide into my DMs, because that's all I see right now.
Yeah.
And messages from Bailey.
Hey.
And we don't condone the F word that
Yeah, I don't
Jeff
like
just
the
said.
F word,
Yeah,
but
we don't condone it.
I
But
was
we had
quoting.
The
to...
maggoty
Oh,
word. The maggoty word.
The maggoty, is that how you
Maggot.
word?
Rhymes
Maggoty.
with
Oh, yeah, 'cause
maggot.
you can't say the F word.
Yeah, so it's maggoty.
The F-A word.
Yeah, maggoty.
You can't say the F-A word.
No, you can't
No,
say the
you
F word.
shouldn't say
It's
it.
just maggoty.
The F-A word.
No.
No, don't say it.
Okay.
So, off
Oh,
topic.
you're saying... Oh, yeah.
The F-A word.
I'm saying you can say F-A, but don't say the actual word. I get it now.
I mean, it's a little late.
Yeah, anyway. All right, moving on.
Canada's changing its drinking laws for driving, okay? That's what I've been trying to get at. But
In a
it's
good
a little
way.
bit bullshit. The main clause that me and my co-host Jeffy are pretty cheesed about is the fact that, like, they can charge you for drunk driving after the fact. So you could have parked your car and gone to bed, and the cops can come the next morning and charge you with drunk driving.
I don't see how that would hold up in court. I just don't get it. Like, they'd be like, well, we didn't take a breathalyzer, but
No,
like
they have to
we
take a
have good...
breathalyzer.
Yeah.
The next morning?
No, it's Bailey just made that statistic up. They have a 2-hour window.
Oh,
Oh,
see,
okay,
that's,
that
I
makes
missed
more
the
sense.
detail
You'll
there.
still show up on the... Okay, that's fine. That's allowed.
But, like...
Oh, but you might not even have been driving. Is that what you're
That's
trying to
the
say?
thing,
Yeah, that's
right?
fine.
Yeah.
Like, I could drive completely sober, go home and just, like, down 8 shots, and they could breathalyze me and be like, whoa, you're way over. You must have drove drunk. I'm like, no, I'm a serious alcoholic. I waited till I got home and then pounded half a Mickey.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't believe you.
Yeah, and then so...
Yeah, you just gotta have a video on you at all times.
I
Body
should
cam.
just Facebook
Body
Live
cam.
everything. Yeah, everyone should wear body cams.
Periscope.
That's
but
what Facebook Live is for.
Facebook Live is to make sure you don't
To
get
make sure you
DUIs.
don't get a DUI. There you
Facebook
go.
Live while you're driving.
oh god,
Which
that's
one's
totally
the worst
safer.
fine, okay?
Yeah.
I think you'll take the...
Yeah, I'll take the texting
Facebook
and
Distracted
drive over,
driving, yeah. But what I was bringing up as a counterpoint is I think it's the Canadian government ramping up for the legalization of marijuana so that they can just have blanketed fuck you laws to accommodate for the fact that a new drug is legal.
Yeah,
But they're gonna be making more money off of the drugs, so they shouldn't...
that's where...
You know?
But the biggest conservative
say?
argument is going to be like, okay, if we have MAD, we have all these laws against drunk driving, how do we regulate marijuana laws driving? They go, look, we just made the drinking laws more strict. We're just going to apply the same DUI laws to marijuana.
Do you think MAD is going to, like, change their name to be, like, also drugs?
I think they have a Mothers Against High Driving, don't they?
But do you think they'll change it to, like, MAID? Just
yeah,
so, like...
they'll include it.
Intoxicated
They
driving?
merge.
I was going to say impaired, but...
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense.
Just have all
Good guess, though. Good guess.
Thank you.
all of the Mothers Against join like Voltron and become like a mother organization
Yeah.
of things they are against.
Just mothers against everything.
Yeah, Mothers Against
Mothers
everything.
hate all.
Mothers against the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, fuck those rules.
Yeah.
No.
I don't
That's
like
stupid.
it.
I don't like
if someone's
that.
driving drunk and you pull them over, but I'm like, as bad as it's going to sound, if they successfully make it home, give them a pass, you know? Give them a pass. They made it home.
I mean, that's like asking for people to just go out and keep doing it because they're getting away with it.
Yeah, but they didn't hurt anyone. It's fine.
Okay.
The only thing I wonder is with that argument, maybe we're being like our grandparents, you know what I mean? Because our grandparents were like, yeah, well, I used to have a couple beers and like drive home and
Yeah,
it's
you-
totally fine. And
Yeah,
maybe,
you drive home from the bar. That's what you did in the 1940s.
yeah, so maybe we're being the stingy old people by saying,
yeah.
oh yeah, but I wouldn't get a ticket if I made it home and the cops didn't catch me, you know what I mean?
No, that's not
This
what
is
I'm
asking
saying.
like crazy ex-girlfriends to just like call on their like ex-boyfriends and
That's
be
what
like,
I'm
he was
saying.
driving drunk.
That's where I
like,
agree.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the worry there, but...
Because it's also like the burden of proof then changes to the person who's driving and not the police, right?
Yeah.
The whole thing with getting pulled over for a DUI is like you get caught in the act.
Yeah.
And the burden of proof is completely on the police to say, okay, he was driving his car. He tested that he had a blood alcohol level.
Yeah.
But it's like, when they just like knock on your door and they're just like, spit in this.
Yeah.
When was
Yeah,
the last
that's
time
pretty-
you drove? Prove you weren't driving 5
Yeah.
minutes ago. It's like, what?
Well,
How many-
now they're gonna have to start putting something in a car that like can tell what time you were driving it or something like. Because there's no way that's gonna be.
No, they're going to
okay.
go. What they're going to do is they're going to say that what they do in court, right, is everything's based on the word of someone who's an expert in the field, and they'll say all police are experts in the field of how long it's been since a car's been running.
Oh, so it's
That-
like, oh, your motor's still
That's what
hot.
they do for tons of shit. Police have
Yeah.
become experts in the field, and anything where there's a
Yeah.
gray area,
Yeah.
they just make police experts in the field. and then it stands up in court.
Yeah.
That's how they get away with all the beatings for black people and shit, right? They go, they're an expert in violence. They're expert in
They're an expert in crisis negotiation.
in riot handling.
Yeah.
So all they'll do is when they go to court, they'll bring another officer on the stand. They'll be like, "This is the information the cop gave. Does this make sense?" Like, no, yes, that makes sense. As an expert in the field, he said this makes sense. You're going to jail for fucking 15 years
That's fucked up.
Or we just make it like Russia, where if you want car insurance, and we all got to have a dash cam.
But then, what would be the fine that person would get? Like, it couldn't be the same as like jail.
It'll be the same.
But it's like they got home and they didn't. They
depends on how light your skin
technically
is.
didn't.
But you still drove drunk.
anyone.
It doesn't matter if you maybe you didn't cause an accident this time.
Yeah.
No,
but
the
any
fucked
other
up thing
time,
is, if you have you're like a hair over the legal alcohol limit, or if you like crash into a tree, you're so drunk, the fine's the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no gray area.
Yeah, that's true. Because
So,
I guess
like-
there can't be. Otherwise, people would just be like,
Yeah.
"I'm really good at driving drunk." So
Yeah, like there can't be a gray
Yeah.
area. So like them coming to your house and being like, "Well, you were drunk." It's like, yeah, but I was barely over. I didn't think I was over, and clearly it was fine.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
but that argument is exactly why I think it's for marijuana. Because the biggest issue with marijuana is that gray area, and if
The gray area for marijuana is fucking tricky.
yeah, so if you eliminate the gray area, then you can just put blanket DUIs,
The
right?
thing is, though, my problem with weed with it is like no one knows how long it takes to exit your system.
I mean, I feel like someone knows
Yeah.
how long it takes to
No,
exit
but
your system.
the average person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, now they're gonna have to know.
I guess so. Yeah.
Same as you learn it for
But, like,
alcohol. Like, okay.
Yeah, you learn it takes like an hour to get an ounce of alcohol out of your system.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, I wouldn't even want to know that.
The thing is, what if it's like some ludicrous number, right?
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
say like you were at a party and you smoked. Let's say, for example, I was at a party
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
smoked 3 fat doobies,
That sounds like you do it often.
and it's a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Sunday, I don't go out. I'm stoned hungover,
Yeah.
so I don't go driving on the Sunday. Monday comes, I got to go to work. It's been 36 hours. I can drive my car. Nope, still in my system. I get a DUI. My life's ruined.
Yeah.
You know what
Meanwhile,
I mean?
you're not
Like,
actually
Yeah.
high, but it's just
I'm
in
not
your
high at
system.
all, but it's still in my system, right? There's going to be a grace period where it just fucks up people's lives. Because there's like
I
a
agree.
DUI will ruin your life.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
100%.
Like,
100%.
Employers,
And there's so many-
insurance, credit rating,
Yeah.
everything.
Like, so for them to just fucking take a hard stance, like, no, we'll come to your house and we'll fucking test your spit, like, that's fucked up, dude.
I feel like someone should have to have proof that you were driving. Like, here's a time-stamped picture of them fucking... But then I guess, like, what are the odds that, like, you just are like, oh, I saw him leave the bar at 8 p.m.
That's what the thing is.
That's
They'll
like,
just
they're
say.
just going to
Yeah,
say
that's
it.
right.
say
Yeah,
it.
it would be
They're going to be an expert in the field.
once again the aggressive ex-girlfriend calls, be like, "Oh, I totally had drinks with him,"
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And then you're
I think
fucked.
we need to move on before I get more pissed about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
What's our next news story, Bailey?
One that hopefully we don't get as cheesed about.
Yeah, I can be pretty lighthearted about this. I
But
love this dude.
good old Scrooge McDuck, Donald Donaldson, and as Colbert said, cockholster for good old Putin. We got.
Well,
All right.
I know it's been very controversial actually. Donald
I
Trump.
bet he says cock.
Yeah, he's a cockholster on CBS.
On CBS, the Central Broadcasting Station, let him say cockholster.
To be
All
fair,
right.
he didn't say he sucks Putin's dick. He just said he's the cockholster.
He's the holster of said cock.
He just holds it for him.
Yeah. Doesn't say where. It could be in his back pocket. It could be in his front orifice.
Exactly.
Who's to say?
So, this cockholster is
What are you going to do, you know?
Trumpy Trumperson Donald Trump.
Trumpy Trumperson.
Donald Trump has had 100 days in government. And Christine, you feel like it's been great so far?
I mean, according to him, it's been harder than he thought.
It's been great.
It's
been-
going to be huge.
Yeah, I
the
mean, I've only
hands.
heard terrible things. I have not heard one good thing that's come out of his 100 days. So, I mean, he apparently he doesn't even remember the place he bombed when he does an interview. He names
But he
the
remembers
wrong
the chocolate
place,
cake.
But
but he
did-
remembers how delicious that chocolate cake was.
For real
so-
though, bro, did you see the Civil War shit this week?
No, I don't think so.
He literally, first of all, he compared himself to Andrew Jackson, who also owned slaves.
All right.
And then he said if Andrew Jackson was around, he would have, like, if Andrew Jackson was in America during the Civil War, not in Britain, he would have stopped the Civil War. Andrew Jackson was dead for 16 years. And then
Okay.
the final statement that blew everyone away, and I've been asking this myself, is no one in the world has ever stopped to ask, why did the American Civil War happen? And why didn't we just negotiate peace terms?
God.
And he said that, and everyone's reaction is like, the fuck. Like, half the shit I saw was like, even Canadians know why the Civil War happened.
Oh my God. Well, did you hear him also he was talking to the Australian, whatever the head of, I don't know, president, prime minister, whatever it is.
Prime Minister.
And was like, talking about their healthcare, and he's like, well, I don't need to talk to you, your healthcare is better than ours. And then Bernie Sanders was just like, they have fucking the healthcare we're trying to get, like, whatever I don't know what the blanket term for what.
Okay, hold on a second. We got Bernie Sanders here. Bernie Sanders, what do you think? What do you think, Bernie Sanders?
Well, the problem is, with Donald Trump's first 100 days of administration, he didn't put forward anything for the American people. He's not creating jobs for the economy. He's trying to benefit the 1% of the 1%. And all he wants is to benefit Donald Trump's first and foremost friends and family of Donald Trump. That was what is wrong with the first 100 days of Donald Trump's presidency.
Oh, thank you, Bernie.
Thanks, Bernie.
I know you could only stop in for a second. Shout out to the Bernie Sanders podcast live a week ago.
Thank you for supporting.
Thank you for coming to Toronto. I do agree, though, with the good old... I feel the burn, and I think he's just... It's like wealth care, right? He's just doing another thing to support the rich motherfuckers. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, I agree with Bernie Sanders too. Well said, Bernie.
Well said, Bernie.
Yeah, no, I'm lightheaded.
Okay, only thing...
I'm sick, Christine.
I have a
had lot of
superficial
whiskey.
question. Do you think because he's president, he will let his hair go gray?
Oh yeah, he'll get a little touch of gray.
Get a touch
A
of
little
gray?
touch.
Just buy that box, that touch of gray.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He'll get a little
Touch of gray?
touch for men, touch of
He
gray.
has a personal hair plug assistant that follows him around.
Yeah, but he's gonna get
Oh my
like just before re-election time, once he starts
We
to
should
lose in the
fire that
polls,
assistant.
he'll get a little touch of gray, and then Fox News will be like, Donald Trump's really showing signs of how much this job is taking its toll. And people will be like, you know what? He must be working hard. 4 more years.
There we go. So we've concluded.
That's the
I should be a political advisor.
yeah. That's the trick though. You go gray right at the end, and then you get another 4 years.
You don't go gray right away.
Yeah, that's how Obama rocked it.
Yeah. I mean, Obama's gray as fuck now, though.
That's what I mean, but he saved it for the final term.
I mean, that dude is just like, if he looks like he's been in a sun lamp for 40 years.
Yeah.
Like, that job took a toll on that dude.
But he actually did some shit, so
Yeah, it depends who you ask.
yeah, I guess so.
That was the best.
Everything's getting repealed real quick.
I guess so.
That was the best Seth joke, is he put like a picture of Obama at the start, and at the end he was like, this is what it did to a smart person. And you think you can do this job?
I think that's what it does to a person who's really emotionally invested in what happens.
Like, oh,
Someone who
fuck.
cares about, like, everyone getting health
Yeah,
care.
Donald Trump's gonna look better because he just
Yeah.
doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Like, I don't care about stockholders or investments.
I don't even remember the names of places I bombed, so why do I need to care?
My
about
salary
anything?
stays the same no matter what. Y'all
Yeah.
just chill and play golf.
I'm a chill, yeah.
This sounds great.
Yeah, wasn't there an
One of
article
those
about how
guys.
many times he's played golf since he like
A lot.
It's like a lot.
I think it was like 100 days, and he played golf like 146 times or something like that.
True.
That can't be. He played more.
He played
like,
more
twice
golf than the days that he was in.
More holes of golf.
Yeah,
more holes of golf.
yeah.
Rounds,
So
I think.
divided by 18.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. All right.
Fucking Bailey.
Next story with no segue.
Speaking of golf,
Speaking of
golf
golf.
requires lots of circular momentum, which is used to move particles in and about a fusion reactor, causing science to happen. Did you know science happened in a fusion reactor in probably England, Christine?
I did not know about this.
What's the real news story,
Yeah.
Bailey?
I don't know the actual
That
news.
a plant in Britain finally created
Great Britain or OK Britain?
the good old Great Britain.
Not OK Britain.
Not according
Not
to Scotland, though, because
barely
Scotland
adequate.
doesn't want to be part of that Great Britain. So just kind of okay.
What about Wales?
Britain, according Wales,
Without the H.
Wales. I mean, the Prince of Wales. He may be dying in the next week or so,
What about
but
Edinburgh?
the Prince of Edinburgh. I don't know how he feels. He might be for nuclear energy, but either way, they created a nuclear fusion reactor, which means no nuclear waste. So it's actually like the closest we've been to 0-point energy, because they make hydrogen and shit in the air naturally bond and cause energy. And like, I would know the science if I hadn't had a few drinks in me.
Okay, it's a drink.
Yeah, it's a drink.
You don't know the
Yeah,
science.
totally.
Fusion
I know
energy.
it's.
I don't want to explain fusion energy.
I know fusion energy. I know it's hydrogen and helium. That is hydrogen and helium fucking bonding, and then shit poofs out, and it makes power.
Poofs out.
No,
That is
okay.
a scientific term.
It's instead of. Do you know how a nuclear power plant works?
Yeah, roughly. That's that for the listeners. For the listeners, not Bailey.
No, not Bailey.
Let's reiterate this here.
Basically, they take nuclear reactive material and they react it to make an explosion that heats up water that creates steam that spins turbines that creates power.
Yeah.
They're trying to do the same thing without nuclear reactive material by smashing two atoms together.
Yeah,
Of
Yeah.
it's at least hydrogen. I know it's hydrogen.
Yeah, hydrogen's definitely.
well, I think it's hydrogen and nitrogen, but we'll say
Yeah.
hydrogen and
Okay.
helium. They just smash two fucking compounds together or two atoms together, and it makes a reaction in the same way plutonium would.
Mm-hmm.
And then that creates an explosion, which heats water that spins turbines. It creates power.
Yeah.
The thing is, people are making a big fucking deal of this. Nuclear power is one of the most efficient ways to make power.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh no, yeah.
People talk about we need to convert to solar and shut down nuclear power
No,
plants.
solar power is not efficient.
Nuclear power is the
Yeah.
most futuristic way to make power.
If they could build enough plants in time, we could totally solve.
I
some
do
issues.
agree. My only issue is then all of society needs to agree on that, and we need to actively put money into upgrading the plants.
But the
The
problem
thing is,
is, you
my
get the
issue is
uneducated
nothing-
people that don't that just are like Chernobyl, and
Well,
you're
no.
like,
Well, because
You
the
can get this-
issue with Fukushima type shit is because it went neglected. The plant
It's
didn't.
not even that. It's because there's poor safety regulations
Yeah.
in other countries. Like in Canada, Fukushima would never happen.
no.
Yeah,
Because you know how long it takes to build a fucking nuclear power plant? It takes 25 years.
yeah.
That's
Because
the
it has
problem.
it has to pass through all the. It's not a problem.
No, that's the reason
That's
they
why
can't
it can't.
use
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
but
that's
because
what I
they're
mean.
being as safe as fucking
Oh
possible.
yeah,
Yeah.
There's fail safes for the fail safes for the fail safes.
Yeah.
So nothing bad could ever happen.
Yeah.
In countries that are just well, we need more power. Let's build a nuclear power plant tomorrow. You slap some concrete on, and you call it a
Oh,
day.
and then then you have workers who aren't even trained, and then
Yeah.
you have one guy working.
Well, even
and-
I went into the
Elimination.
nuclear power plant. If your nuclear levels are above a certain level, they won't let you in the building.
no.
Yeah.
There's so much strict regulations in Canada where if they had invested, if there wasn't big money in fucking coal and oil, if nuclear was the way of the future, we'd be fine.
Yeah.
I remember,
Exactly.
yeah, my grandfather was a nuclear safety inspector, and there's a quick, easy story. Is they had to reject a dude from coming in because he
Should have
went,
met Dave.
yeah, he went hunting in Alaska, and some of the radiation from Chernobyl got into the veggies in Alaska, and a deer ate the veggies, and the guy ate that deer, and that minute amount of radiation
Yeah.
didn't allow him into the plant.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's how strict they are here.
No, they have
I agree
the
with you. I
regulations
just
are
think it needs
insane,
to be
and-
more educated in society
Well,
of let's agree on this and move forward.
Buddy,
with it.
even I've seen Facebook posts of people showing a nuclear power plant, and they're like, "Oh, look at all the smoke and fucking greenhouse gases being burnt off."
Yeah, it's
There's no-
that's called
water
steam.
vapor.
It's just
yeah.
steam.
It's called
It's
steam,
just
you
steam.
dumb fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yet they'll drive a car and go on a bus that has fucking terrible shit coming out,
my
and they're just
commute
that's fine.
will create more greenhouse gases than a nuclear power plant will in its lifetime.
Yeah, I agree. I
Like-
do agree.
Obviously, you run into the problem you have to dispose of nuclear waste afterwards, but every nuclear power plant
It's
in the
not
world
even-
will fill one landfill.
I agree on that, and then even in the same sense, if we even go to the base of okay, this is nuclear power, let's figure out how our existing plants can be more efficient, then we can look for less wasteful fuels for it. But the
fucking
fact that we're so
Throw
stuck
it in
on
a rock and launch it to space once every 15 years. You'll be fine.
it's let's suck up all the dead dinosaurs and
Yeah,
kill
right.
ourselves.
Just burn melted dinosaur down
Yeah, there you go.
and just fucking kill our atmosphere because it's big business.
Shit.
It's harder to sell plutonium. How are you going to sell plutonium? Make bombs with that.
We depleted uranium.
Can we
makes
move on to
weapons.
more? I got really heated this
Yeah.
new segment.
So
Yeah.
let's
Let's
make
get
things
heated about different things.
happier.
Can we get heated about movies for a minute?
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite segment. Christine, what's it called?
Jeff's movie minute.
Jeff's Movie Minute.
Bam, 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 bam.
All right, so I'm going to be honest. 66% of this is TV news, not movie news. So we might have to rethink the minute. But first one's movies. So did you see the Kingsman trailer?
No, I
Yes.
So did you see the first Kingsman?
No,
Yes.
but you've yelled at me about it, and I educated myself on it, so I am fully aware of it. But I did not.
He probably spent the amount of time it could have taken to watch the movie to educate himself on. Just watch the fucking movie,
It's like
Bailey.
not even a 2 hour
It's called
movie.
I read a Screen Rant article.
Just fucking.
It's a good flick. You should watch it. It's a good flick. I don't even know how to talk to you about this then.
Well, you can talk to me.
So
I can talk to you, Christine.
I can
Bailey,
keep
can you
up
just be
roughly.
quiet for 3 to 4 minutes?
There you go.
So here's the thing.
All right.
So for those of you who didn't see the trailer but have seen the last movie, like I would hope Bailey would have, so in the newest movie they're gonna encounter what's called the Statesman,
Yes.
which is basically in. Shut the fuck up. In the beginning of Kingsman 2, it looks like the Kingsman secret warehouse was blown up.
Yes.
So they're going to travel to the Americas and meet up with the American version of the Kingsman.
His name's the Statesman? No, its name's not the
Bailey,
Statesman.
we told you to shut the fuck up for 2
the fuck
minutes,
up.
so shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Anyway.
The Statesman is run by 2 notable actors so far, Channing Tatum and Jeff Bridges as the head of the Statesman. Good picks?
Yeah. I'm
Good
always
picks.
down for Channing Tatum.
Good picks.
Super American.
Also, super guest star who in an unconfirmed role is Elton John.
All right.
Right? Maybe singing Tiny Dancer?
Then I'll see it.
Hopefully.
You'll see it if Elton
We're going to
John
tell
is in
you
it.
that he's in it regardless,
Yeah,
and you'll
I made
have to
that
watch
up just
it.
so you'd see it.
And you have to watch
Okay.
the first one in order to watch
Also,
the second
Method
one, so.
Man is in it, and
Who else is
Other
and all
people-
the actors you like are in it. So watch
the
it.
guy who James Franco's character in Spring Breakers is based on, he's in it.
Riff Raff.
Riff Raff
Riff
is in
Raff.
it. He's in it. Action Bronson is in it.
Oh, that's so British. That makes sense.
Billy
Jeff's
Joe
movie minute
Armstrong
is now
in
things
it.
that are fake news.
Hashtag things that are fake news.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck this one. Did you see the Defenders trailer?
Yes. Yes.
That you saw. All right.
Yes.
The one where they brought... See, am I spoiling, or you go?
No,
Say it. What
ask
do
the
you...
one.
Is it
Finish
the
your-
one where they brought Elektra back to life?
I mean, they like show the fucking thing over.
Yeah, they show her in the cast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She might
but it's
not come to
obvious.
life.
She's gonna come.
No,
back.
she's in a later clip actually, like doing some shit.
Yeah, it's the one that makes her crazy. They even allude to it because like Nobu and shit lost their memory
Fucking
immediately.
Nobu,
after.
man.
Good old Nobu.
He'll be back.
Yeah. Oh, he will. Did
He's
you
the-
watch any
the
of them?
ninja that he caught on fire.
Yeah. No, I know what's going on.
That was like one of the best moments of the Marvel like Netflix thing of like when Daredevil fought Nobu for the first time. For the first time,
Not even close.
but for the
That whole fucking rant when Daredevil's like chained up and like Punisher's like shoot me or I'm gonna fucking kill everyone.
When was the last time you've ever watched a movie or a TV show and saw a ninja fighting the main character and went like, "Hey, this makes sense"? Like that was Daredevil
But
fighting
Daredevil's
Nobu.
known
Was the
as
only
like
time
the
I saw.
ninja, like the blind ninja.
Yeah.
He's known as the blind ninja.
He fights ninjas that whole series.
The whole
No,
series.
but like a badass singled out ninja, like just a ninja fight. When was the last time you saw a good ninja fight
I
on
feel
TV?
like
that
every-
made sense?
Give me one other example. I've never had an option other than that to appreciate that.
Jackie Chan Adventures.
I loved every episode of Jackie Chan Adventures. That's a great show.
Okay, I lose
Christine,
there.
you were
then.
going to say something?
No, I was going to allude to Jackie Chan, but...
Were you going to allude
Yeah,
to
I
Jackie
was. I
Chan?
couldn't think of the name.
Hey, this is why you're our favorite guest on the show. Good pick.
Thank
Okay,
you.
How do you feel about stick?
Stick. What?
No, just like a stick.
Stick on the
I'm really
Good
confused.
for roasting
I like
marshmallows or
sticks.
no?
I'm really confused on what role he's going to play with the Defenders. I feel like he's going to be the one to explain what the hand actually is to all of them.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh, Stick. Now I know who you're talking about. That old
Daredevil's
blind-
mentor
yes.
kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be like, by the way, I know all about the
No, I
hands.
bet he's in like one episode.
Because someone broke it down because it's like you got Nobu, you got that rich white lady, you got Miss Chan or whatever the fuck her name is. And then you
Madame
got
Woe?
Madame Woe, and then you got
Is
the
it Woe or is it
the-
Woo?
the-
I think it's Woo.
I think it might be Woo.
Madame Woo.
yeah Madame
I
whatever.
threw out Woo.
And
Whoa,
then
whatever I said. I just threw that out there. I knew it was Madam. Madam. I don't think it's even Woo.
I think it's Woo.
then you got Bokuda or
Bakudo?
Baraka or whatever the
Bakudo.
fuck his name was.
Bakudo. It's
Bakudo.
definitely a B.
Right?
You know, no one knows any names here.
I don't
I
know the
think-
Asian ones. Ask me about the
Okay.
white people ones.
Okay.
Like so then if
Madam
with-
Gao. It's Madam Gao.
Wow.
Madame Gao.
I was so sure it
But
was
so
Woo.
then that's the 4 fingers of the hand. So for the Defenders, you add the 5th finger of the hand, and then the analogy makes sense.
The analogy. It's Probably a rich white lady.
It's probably a rich white lady. Because they showed her at the end of Iron Fist. At the end of Iron Fist, they showed this new, like, rich white lady that Madame Gao was reporting to. But they didn't... It's Sigourney Weaver. It was Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver is rich white lady.
Famous from Alien.
Yeah.
Don't know who that
Ridley.
is.
Bruh.
Bruh.
You didn't see Alien?
Don't ask her about the movie she's seen. It'll upset you. She hasn't seen most of them.
Okay, just as long
But
as...
she's seen Mean Girls 437 times.
You at least have to know who Sigourney Weaver
It's
is.
the most quotable movie ever made, okay? Let's move on.
Andy Dufresne.
What?
Crawled through a mile of shit.
Alright.
You
Shawshank Redemption. Have you not seen Shawshank Redemption?
Please.
Moving on.
That's a movie, like, not nerdiness, just
All right,
in
just throw
general
out
you gotta
a
watch.
random great movie. Guarantee she hasn't seen it.
Wow. This is how you think of me.
Random
Okay.
great movie.
What's your favorite movie, Bailey?
I have too many...
I know what your favorite movie is.
What's my
It's
favorite
District
movie?
9.
District 9, yeah. Have you seen District 9?
Never
Heard of it. You've seen Boondock Saints.
Yeah,
another one of Bailey's
thank you.
favorite
Second.
I've
That
heard of
is
it, but have
second.
not
He's-
seen it.
He knows movie
Aren't these
lists
all,
better
like,
than me.
war movies or something? I don't know. Like,
No, District 9 is a war movie.
not gonna see it.
Boondock Saints is like an Irish mobster
oh,
movie.
you made me watch that and I fell asleep.
movies. Yeah, she fell asleep like 12 minutes in.
Jesus. What about Moon? Have you seen Moon?
The fuck is... I've
Have
seen
you
The Moon.
Have you seen... Have you seen Sun?
The Sun, yes.
Moving on.
All right.
Next part of Jeff's movie/TV minute. This comes from Christine, so I can't yell at her anymore. But did you know they're making a live-action Teen Titans?
Not
What are
until
your
you told
thoughts
me
while I
5
get a
minutes before. My thoughts are, like, it could be dope. As I said earlier, though, it's going to be a bitch to CGI Beast Boy.
See, I have this theory, okay? I have this theory that...
It's okay, guys. I'm back.
So,
I was paying.
they're gonna... Because Jeff came up with, like, maybe they'll, like, get Kid Flash in there, right?
All
Like,
right,
the
so
current...
Here's the thing. Bailey
but-
hasn't seen either of the CW shows.
Oh, well then...
Let me just preface it
This
with
is
that.
awkward, okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Explain it to him, though.
But, okay,
Just talk
basically,
down to
like...
him.
So, there's this show called The Flash,
Okay.
where there's a guy who runs real fast.
And his name is?
Is Barry Allen.
Oh, his
what?
name's not The Flash?
He is The Flash, but his
Oh,
real
so
name
the
is
show
Barry Allen.
is called The Flash.
Yes, and he is
But his
the
name
Flash.
isn't The Flash.
His
But he
superhero
is
name
the
is The
Flash.
Flash. Yes.
Okay.
Anywho, basically, there's another character in the show called Kid Flash who, like, I'm not gonna get into how he gets powers, all that nonsense, but he's like gets trained by the Flash.
Yeah,
you
he's
know?
like
he's
his.
like another
that's
Flash.
as much
and
as
he
I know
helps.
about
Yeah.
Kid Flash is that
Yeah.
the Flash is his mentor.
Yeah.
That's- yeah.
So anyway,
That's all you
like
need to know.
basically in the show, he's like dating this other girl who's also super fast. So there's like a lot of fast people.
There's a lot of fast
called,
people.
Speedsters.
Jessie Quick.
They're called speedsters,
Speedsters.
right?
Speedsters.
Yeah.
So Jessie Quick, but Jessie Quick lives on like Earth 3 or
3.
something.
She
They're
lives in a
Earth
different
1.
dimension.
She's in another
Yeah.
dimension. But he's
Bailey's
like
familiar with the multiverse.
so yeah. So
I'm familiar
he's like
with it.
dating her in
Yeah.
the show. So he goes to visit her. But I was like, what would be sweet is if they like involved Kid Flash in it and had like it was Jessie Quick's world that they all live in, and then like Kid Flash can come like, oh hey, hang out and like be with all the Teen Titans, and it'd be great.
Because my main concern is like if they make it interconnected with all those other shows,
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, but then you have to make it play into the Flash. If you have Kid Flash, that's the whole thing. It's got to play as Supergirl. You're going to have Superboy in it because Superboy would be pretty cool. So she's like, just put it on a different Earth.
Yeah. And you're good
Put
to
it
go.
in the Flash universe, but on a different
but
Earth.
on a different Earth.
So you don't have to worry about it. If you want to be like, oh, we need Flash here for an episode, yeah, he can still make it there.
I kind of agree with Christine because it
Right?
makes
That's
sense.
a good plot theory.
They're like
Hey, directors of Teen Titans, hire me.
Greg Berlanti.
I
listen.
will show my boobs for $500.
show my boobs and write your TV
I don't
series.
think there'll be boobs in.
I know, but I'm just
What if it's
bringing
not
it up.
filmed?
Every episode we talk about
Would
it.
you get your boobs? Like, would you flash your boobs for $500 if it's not filmed?
Is it like some guy in his car? Like
No, it's a movie director. It's a movie director in his
Okay.
office, but he's not filming it.
I mean, $500 is $500. There you
All
go.
right, you gonna buy me something pretty?
No, it's for me.
Oh, jeez.
What if
But
I showed my dick for $500?
Do it.
All right.
Whatever makes
as
you
long as you
$500.
buy her something pretty in return, then I
No,
think you're
fuck
even.
that. It's all for
Money's
me.
your money, as long as you're using
Yeah,
it to
all right.
get a dick enlargement. Ow!
Hey! If only y'all saw the rejected high five that went down there.
Oh no!
If only.
I probably only get $200. Let's be honest.
You'll get 500 once you get the enlargement.
Oh no!
I think we all know what she's alluding to. But
Oh
I think she's right also because
Oh, no.
They're trying to expand how big the DCU is in contrast to
Can
Marvel.
we expand how big my dick is?
If you really believe.
Thanks, Mom.
Take extra testosterone according to Bailey and you'll just grow a dick.
You'll
so.
just grow dicks. That's why I take shark testosterone. Come on. But I think it's better because they're going to have to contrast all the Marvel craziness. So by setting up, now that they have the multi-universes set up, then, like, why not run with it?
I feel like it's going to be set in not in the same universe.
Yeah,
at
I
all.
feel like they're just not going to connect it.
They're not going to allude to it or anything. It's just going to be its own thing.
That's
But
what
it'd
they
be
did
pretty
with
sweet if
the
they did.
cartoon, right? The OG cartoon.
Well, no, it's going to be like Gotham or Gotham.
Yeah, where it's just like, that's all it is. They're not going to bring anyone else in.
Yeah.
The same with, other than Slate, like, they didn't bring in any other characters in the original Teen Titans, like the one that we watched as kids.
What?
Like the Teen Titans cartoon.
I'm familiar with it, yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it was like set in a completely stagnant, like, so I'm agreeing with you guys because it was set in a completely
Yes, but we live in a different world now, is what we're saying, where everything is connected.
Oh, okay.
I can say, the Batman animated series didn't bring in anyone else, but it's like, yeah, but that's irrelevant.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's a different time.
No, but I'm saying that they'll try to emulate it, but that's fine. That's fine. Just shit on my ideas. That's okay.
Well, they have
That's what we do here, Bailey.
I know. That's what it seems like. Fuck.
Quiet on the set, Christine.
Yeah, no, chill on the beer cans.
Now we're going to move on to our world-famous
My
next
apologies.
segment where we talk about a thing that's our topic of the week. What we're going to do here, we're going to split it up into 3 segments. We're probably going to play Mario Party in between. Because I got to get all the stars. But this week we're talking about all of our favorite conspiracy theories. Are we excited?
Yes.
Christine, did you come prepared, or
Did
you're
you
just
get-
doing commentary?
So here's the plan.
I have my brain.
Here's the plan. Since me
And common sense.
Me and Bailey are uninformed idiots. What we're going to do, each segment we're going to pose one of our favorite conspiracy theories
Yeah.
to Christine,
Alright.
and we're going to see if we can convince her to believe our theory.
Okay.
Sound like a good plan?
Yeah.
All right, you're up first.
I'm up first.
Fine, I'll go. No,
No,
you're
I'm okay with first, but...
Go.
I gotta
Which
select which
one?
one to throw at you.
You probably should have planned ahead of time.
Oh, no, I planned.
I put mine in order.
I've got ones with, like, different levels of arguments behind them.
Just fucking pick one.
So I'm gonna go with the one I have right here. I got good old aliens. You believe aliens are real?
No.
Oh, you're fucking up. So,
I'm fucking up.
Fucking up.
Alright.
have you heard of Gary McKinnon? So, Gary McKinnon unfortunately had an untimely accident when he found the information that he found because it was in February 2002. So
Oh, it's a bad time to find it.
he was kind of overshadowed by another political incident that may have started
I don't
with
know if
9
it
and
happened.
ended with 11.
It's not the 9 Snicker eggs that happened on February 1st of 2011.
But he's actually deemed as the biggest military hack of the U.S. military ever.
Ever.
Other than Snowden, of course, because that's not
I mean,
even
they haven't made a movie
because
about
that's
this guy. So.
that's the NSA. That's the NSA. So then, deemed as the biggest military hack ever, and the reason I like this story, this dude's super interesting, is because he's the only alien dude that went like, the shit that I probably found probably like isn't real. Like the U.S. government obviously wants to go to space. The stuff I found could have just been all fake of them just preparing for it, right? But so he had an insider at NASA, and they're like, okay, check the data banks for Building 8 at the Johnson Space Center, at the main space center for NASA, right?
Okay.
And they didn't say, like, you're going to find spaceships, you're going to find anything there. She was just like, that's where we have our Photoshop doctors. Like, that's where we use Photoshop and all this shit. But didn't go, like, you're going to find aliens. So he just casually went in, and he found a whole data bank of, like, high-resolution images in 2002 on like, dial-up internet. And that was the issue. He was trying to download all these images on dial-up internet. And he found, like, stuff that he could barely describe. And they showed the screenshots of what he could take because he could only screenshot it since the download wasn't working. And it was, like...
Convenient.
Yeah, that's the conspiracy part. It was conveniently, he took screenshots of these images of, like, crafts that, like, aren't humanly shaped. They're weird, and they're round, and they have no evidence of rivets in it or human construction. But the weird part is... he went into their actual, like, databases, and he found officer lists labeled as non-terrestrial officers. He found logs of material transports between the International Space Station and other ships. And then he also found a list of crafts employed by the U.S. military, and several of them were not included within the Navy's list, but were just there in existence, just not given to any sort of military. And ironically, this is the funny conspiracy part too, is rather than USS, do you know what USS stands for?
United Saints of Suicide.
No. Even simpler.
Good
It's
guess.
United States ship, right?
That's better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the vessels
You're close.
the vessels that he found had USSS.
United
So if
Super
it's-
Soldiers.
So if it's
Super ship.
a United States ship, what would the fourth S be, right? United States spaceship, right?
I didn't get there.
We
Jesus
need to
Christ!
Enter. Yeah, that's.
But so
Thank you. That's what I wanted. X-Files.
the PRE part of this is the
Okay.
fact that he publicly went on record, all his Times interviews and everything. He even said he was the one that going like, I probably found nothing. Like these were probably just simulations. But still, to this day, he found this in 2002. He got off in 2012.
What did he get off to?
He-
Like horse
Aliens.
fucking?
No, he got away from extradition.
Extradition.
Extradition, but he's still not allowed to leave England, specifically England. Like his dad was dying in Scotland,
That's worse than death.
and he could not go back to Glasgow to see his father because the United States would extradite him. And
Why
if
did his father come to him? It's a
He's
shit
dying.
because he's
It's a shit
dying,
dad.
he's
Get on a
dying.
train, you lazy fuck.
Oh, jeez. Sorry.
Jesus
It's a
Christ.
whole other story.
But then that's like so. That's the funny part.
It's like just down the road.
Oh my
when you
God.
talk
It's not like
about
he's in
a
Australia.
if you talk about a conspiracy theory, when the dude's willing to admit that he found something that could probably mean nothing, but the U.S. military is still trying to convict him and not just running with the story that he gave them as
I mean,
an
he
alibi.
still hacked in, though, didn't he? He still, whether it was fake stuff that he's saying it is, he still is hacked in.
But the statute of limitations.
What?
You can just say
Is that your
words.
defense? But the statute of limitations?
No, not at all.
I just think it's pretty sneaky, like, or pretty, what's the word I'm looking
Illegal?
for? No,
Convenient?
Convenient. That he didn't bring anyone with him or have anyone else look at these documents.
To
It's just like,
corroborate
oh, I
his
happened to
story.
screenshot this really bad
Yeah, I
picture
agree.
I
that's
drew
blurry.
a picture of what I saw.
It's
I
a
agree.
big old circle in the sky.
It's the good
Someone
old-
just threw a frisbee up and he took a picture in the nighttime. Like, I don't know. Like,
It's the
that's what it
dial-up
sounds
internet
like to me.
days, so it's hard to run with, right? That's the
Yeah.
thing. Is like even if he
Well,
did have
can-
evidence, it's like
Yeah, I don't know.
it's kind of hard.
Convenient.
Yeah,
You done with your garbage
I'm
one?
done with my.
That's the
garbage
thing with
one. What do you
conspiracy.
Mine one is also space related.
got? Hey,
All right, are you familiar with what happened on July 20th, 1969?
I am.
What happened?
Some guy went up in space.
So you may think. Here's what actually happened. On July 20th, 1916 was the
I said
culmination.
68.
What did I say?
You just said 16.
July 20th, the year that is undetermined. No, it's 1969.
You just changed it again. Conspiracy theory
you said
debunked.
August 20th.
Debunked.
Most of this is fake news.
Aliens.
That should just make up facts. It'll make it sound really convincing.
That
Did
was
you know? Don't Google this later. No, so here's the thing. The moon landing didn't happen. Here's what did happen. I got a cold. I got a real gross cold.
and Stanley Kubrick faked it all.
Stanley Kubrick did fake it all. Thank you for telling me.
All right.
It seems really convenient to myself and the rest of the North American public that right around the time where they was having a space race with the Russians,
Are you making all of this up?
when they were the space race with the Russians, America all of a sudden figured out the technology. Oh yeah, we can probably just make it to the moon.
I feel like they'd been working on it.
They'd been working on it, but do you know how the rest of the trips went? Not so well.
This one worked.
Do you know what happened in Apollo 1? Do you know what happened in Apollo 1? No. They tried to launch it, blew up, everyone died.
Oh, yeah.
You know what happened with the rest of them? They're like, we're not sending people, because the last time we sent people, everyone died. Because they went to launch it, Launch went off, everyone died.
They figured out the technology.
That seems rather convenient.
Rather convenient.
Rather convenient.
Because the Russians already had a dude in space at that time. The good old cosmonauts.
The
Sputnik.
cosmonauts had been to space.
Sputnik.
All right.
Cosmonauts had been into space.
But had they been on the moon?
They had not been on the moon.
There
That's
you go.
why it's
So
called.
they say.
That's why it's called a space race. What is also quite convenient is that the U.S. supposedly landed on the moon in 1969, and the Soviets could not track spacecraft until 1972, where conveniently NASA cut its funding and made no more attempts to land on the moon. Between 1969 and 1972, they had 3 quote-unquote successful landings on the moon, where they brought moon rocks back to the American soil. Once 1972 hit, the Soviets had the technology where they could see a spaceship launch and track its launch into orbit and where it could land. And once they discovered that technology, the U.S. did not go into space. Convenient, isn't it?
Seems like we don't have, I say we. It seems like the United States doesn't have anything to prove, you know? Like, we have
But
moon
this-
rocks, so...
Here's the thing. Are you familiar with the Cold War?
No.
The Cold War is basically a giant big dick contest between the U.S. and Russia, where they're both like, well, our dick is much larger than your dick.
So
no.
Kind of what we're in right now.
Kind of what we're in right now.
All right.
Where typically I lose. But the whole thing is the cost for what they spent on going to space for their supposed moon landing up until Apollo 15, I want to say, don't quote me on that, $25.4 billion. Which in 1969 is a lot of fucking money.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of fucking money.
Yep.
If you look at how much money it would have cost them to fake a moon landing, couple $1 billion maybe? Let's say
You think it would cost them that much?
they gotta bribe a lot of people, they gotta like...
Yeah, because it's still a lot of people to bribe, but at the same time, it's before the internet age, so you just have to bribe everyone that filmed it.
Yeah. Or probably back then just kill them.
Well, you got Kubrick. Kubrick just made 2001: A Space Odyssey instead and got rich.
Well, you gotta, like... Yeah, you gotta kill the sound guy, I guess.
Yeah.
But you gotta bribe Buzz Aldrin, you gotta bribe Neil Armstrong.
Yeah.
You gotta keep them living lavish for life.
Yeah.
Like, to an extent where they can never be coerced.
Yeah. That's true.
But for $26 billion, they can actually go to space, but who'd ever catch them? No one has the technology to prove that they're wrong. There's also shocking images where if you look at it, you can see that there's lighting that makes no sense from a mathematical angle from where the sun would be. As if there was a spotlight shining on the set.
And there's
But if
still
they were putting
shots
all that
where
money into it, don't you think they would have, like, thought about, like, the lighting?
the simplest one though is how the fuck would a flag wave on the moon? Why do the images have a flag waving if there's no gravity or atmosphere on the moon?
He blew it.
He blew it. Sounds rather convincing that it might be a faked moon landing.
It's
doesn't
pretty
it?
convincing.
The thing is people always think about it in perspective of logic that we see now, right? They're like, oh, obviously...
We've obviously been there now.
No. Not even that. But, like, they're like, oh, obviously now, why would they do that? We know they'd figure it out. The technology in 1969 couldn't look at those images and be like, oh, that looks off, that looks off.
Yeah.
No one in 1970, let's say, could analyze those images and zoom in and be like, oh, look, that's a reflection of a dude jerking off in the corner. This must be a sound set. They look at those images and they're like, well, something seems kind of fishy here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though, and then the thing is, if you look at Apollo 11 against Apollo 13, when the astronauts are hopping around, like, they're not hopping around in the same way.
Yeah.
Like, you see some of them, they're just doing, like, leaps and bounds, and others, like, they literally walk off the ladder of the spaceship, but, like, those don't equate.
There's a lot of inconsistencies.
Wow.
And there's a lot of
I
theories
would have to look more into this.
as to the fact that they made launching engineerments, I'm going with, because that's a word, as the same technology it would take to launch off Earth is entirely different than the technology it would take to launch off the moon, obviously, right? So you have to launch off Earth, and it launches off all the propulsion technology. You know, like, obviously you've seen a space launch.
Yeah.
When they launch, they, like, deploy
Yeah.
everything else that lands in the ocean, because when you're going through space, you don't need all that shit. They have to physically land on the moon, and they had to perfectly calculate the launch velocity to launch off of the moon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It seems impractical for the technology they had in 1969.
Yeah.
Well, it's also a flashback to 1961, where Kennedy made a promise that we will have a man on the moon by the end of the decade. He had his famous quote, "We won't do it because it's easy, we do it because it's hard."
Yeah.
His whole platform was based around the fact that we will have a man on the moon.
All right.
He was nearing the end of his presidency, and he wanted to secure his legacy, that he was the person who put a man on the moon. And he basically had found out that there's no way this is going to happen. The technology's just not there. So what are we going to do? We'll just fucking fake it.
The quote I heard is, just real quick, is the equivalent of the technology they had to put the ship on the moon is the same as the cell phone that sits in your pocket. Like, that's how advanced they were. Like, that whole room in NASA is the same shit you have in your pocket. Continue, John.
The biggest thing is that people don't look at. People look at, like, oh, the landing on the moon is, like, such an extravagant endeavor. Like, you'd have to, like, fake so many people. Realistically, you wouldn't have to, because they launched many spaceships into space. Mm-hmm. So as far as 99% of the people are concerned, they launched a spaceship into space. They saw the video of Neil and Buzz being in space, and the spaceship landed. 99% of the people don't have to know that that spaceship went up, circled about a little bit, and came back down.
But, okay,
Bada
what
bing.
happened?
Questions?
Yes, okay. When it came down,
Yeah.
how did that all go about? Was there not like we need to get these guys out of this? Because, like, I feel like there was people around when they were getting them out of the ship.
What do you mean?
Okay, so 2 people go into space.
Neil and Buzz.
They come down and it lands somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be out of the ship. If it was fake, they would not be in that ship.
Neil and Buzz were in the ship.
So what he's saying is they filmed the lunar
filmed
landing
it,
and then shot them
And then
into
they
space,
shot Neil and Buzz into space.
orbited the Earth a couple times,
the Earth,
and then
they
plopped
played
it
the
back
footage of, like, oh, one small step for man,
Yeah.
and then they came back, and they're like, oh, you did it, you landed on the moon. Ha, little do you know, we filmed that shit 3 weeks ago. Here's some rock we totally found on the moon.
even though it's made of only like terrestrial goddamn materials.
Did they find that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they brought moon rocks
Same
back.
materials.
And it's made of like it's iron and magnesium
Yeah, it's
and like
basic ass
carbon.
Not like shit, like if you analyze a meteor, completely different materials than moon rocks.
Yeah.
Right?
Interesting.
Fishy, isn't it?
Fishy.
Alright, so we're going to take a break. Before we take a break, which one of our theories is more believable?
Moon landing.
Moon landing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you poking some holes in the moon landing. Could it be real? Maybe not. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we got a couple more theories for you. We'll see what happens.
Hey,
Alright.
And we're back. It was a good little break. We played some Mario Party.
Sure did.
Christine's getting fucked up in Mario
Sure
Party.
am.
Fuck Daisy.
Fuck Daisy.
Fuck
Yeah.
Daisy.
Fuck Daisy.
Daisy.
Anyway, clearly we're all very bad at fucking children's games. But we're talking about conspiracy theories here on the show. And I think Bailey has another one that's going to blow Christine's mind. What do we got, Bailey?
Lyme disease.
Lyme disease. You think Lyme disease is a conspiracy?
With
I
a
think
Y
it's
or with an I?
with a Y.
Oh, with a Y.
With a
Diseases
Y.
from fruits?
It's actually named after Old Lyme, Connecticut,
Is it?
which is where it was originally founded.
Interesting.
Yes.
Do you spell that with a Y or with an I?
With a Y.
How do you spell Connecticut? With an I or with a Y?
With an I.
How do you spell disease? With an I or with a Y?
With an
I.
I.
How do you spell flying? With an I or with a Y?
Y and an I.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I.
Now that we've cleared that up, Bailey, propose your argument.
Well, no, but I will propose my argument after Christine tells me what Lyme disease is.
So it's a disease spread by ticks. So you got to get it from a tick. The tick is the host.
But
And it basically usually causes like muscle weakness isn't the right word, but like
dystrophy.
I guess, yeah. And
Yeah.
like it's not so fun, basically.
And when did it start?
I don't know.
1975.
Bailey did his research.
I did my research.
But were you looking at reliable sources? We'll
I was
find out.
actually. There's a lot of like legitimate like goddamn National Post and
Okay,
Washington.
National Post is not a legitimate source.
We found that out today.
If you're reading an opinion article, yes, but this was an actual.
No, I'm
proper-
talking about, like, I want to see a peer-reviewed scholarly paper. That's a reliable source. If I were to use National Post on my scientific report, they'd be like, you're getting a 0.
See, but then you're contributing to the conspiracy theorists because it's the federal government that chooses which funding to give to actual reviewed diseases.
Have you ever read an article, like, let's say the newspaper's like, hey, like, we read this study, here's what we got out of the study, and then you read the study and you're like, that was not at all what the study was about. Like, you can't trust what one guy reading a study thinks he's read it as
It's all the newspaper posting their opinion about what they read in the study.
Exactly. Like, everything's opinion when it's a journalist
when you read
writing
a study and it's peer-reviewed, you're only getting the facts.
Yeah.
No, touche.
But anyway,
It seems you've already been bested, but
I feel like I've already been bested.
Yep.
But then it's even as a fact, as a lady who studies the sciences, and you can't say where it came from. Oh my Jesus Christ! Okay,
you scared the cat.
As a lady studying the sciences who can't say where it came from, it's already an intriguing fact. But so shit started in 1975, right? Old Lyme, Connecticut. Okay, so it's at a facility where the Ministry of Agriculture for the U.S. government was studying animal transfer diseases that cannot be given human to human or host to host, right? Okay. So, further, this facility was legally provided with Nazi doctors. Okay?
This already sounds like
I know. So when World War II ended, legally, the American government brought over some of the Nazi scientists, right? Okay. Now, guess which scientists, like what their specialty was when they came to this facility?
Was it Lyme disease?
Wasn't Lyme disease. It was
weaponry.
Yeah, it was biochemical weapons, right? Mm-hmm. So they brought them to this agriculture and livestock research facility for the Ministry of Agriculture for the United States. And then they were working on a specific type of disease called the relapsing fever, right? Mm-hmm. It's found in Africa, okay? Mm-hmm. Western Africa to be specific.
Oh, the west part.
Okay.
Well, we should defer. It's a whole continent. Like,
we should defer.
North America is the only one where we actually differentiate where in the continent it is.
Differentiate.
I
mean, if you see Canada, it's like, oh, it originated in Canada.
Yeah.
It's a pretty fucking big country.
But,
anyway.
So, then all of a sudden, this disease that was just chilling in Africa pops up in New York.
Wait, what part of Africa?
West Africa.
Oh, thank you.
In New York in 1975. And coincidentally, this disease does not kill you, but it ails all of your, like, 3 major systems. So it gives you the dystrophy in your joints.
What are the 3 major systems?
Your
neurological and circulatory and your
muscular.
Yeah, exactly. Your muscular system, right?
Sorry.
No, thank you.
What about the respiratory system?
Your respiratory system.
That goes along with circulatory, kind of.
God, Christine!
I'm sorry.
Megan, let him pause.
I thought you were just dumb.
She making it sound better. I'm aware of it, but she making it sound better. I would have just said your lungs. It makes you breathe okay.
Your heart does the beatings.
Your heart does the beatings.
And it's boop bops, and you take the pills, and it slows your heart beats.
But so, this Lyme disease...
With a Y.
With a Y. Coincidentally, it's a disease that just popped up in 1975 beside a chemical weapons facility in the same state and is still only localized to that region with no known cure, no known vaccine other than what the government provided. And what it does is it gives you severe arthritis. Mm-hmm. It gives you neurological breakdown, so you start losing your memory, you start having problems with connections. And then it also affects like your overall motor functions and the blood flow to your body. So it makes your muscles weaken on top of all that shit, right?
Alright.
Okay. So, this was amidst the Cold War. You remember I was discussing that shit?
Yes.
Where
War.
They're talking about peen size.
Yeah.
They're talking about how cold it was in Canada and Russia. Like, it was a complicated situation, right? At the same time that this happened, Russia was being like beaten on about creating anthrax and other dangerous viruses. Mm-hmm. So, like, coincidentally, at that same time, we accidentally had this new virus pop up in America that completely debilitates and subdues citizens but does not kill them. Right? Okay. So, like, what a coinky-dink.
But what
that at the same time the Russians were fucking with chemicals, we were fucking with chemicals, and a brand new disease just pops up with no cure in America.
Explain that, Christine, with science.
Bada bang.
I just feel like that's hooey. Hooey, that's the scientific term for what you're saying?
Well,
hooey?
With an I or with a Y?
Why?
How about the fact
Yeah, I did.
that the same facility that they were curious about this coming out of received a $50 million grant from the U.S. government to develop a vaccine, and they did, but the vaccine ended up not working a year after, and they canceled it and took it off the markets.
Okay, but you're trying to say, oh, like, they supposedly made this virus, and they supposedly got, or, well, they definitely got whatever amount of money you said to make the vaccine. Okay. But, like, of all places to make a vaccine would be, that place would be the place to ask to make a vaccine regardless. Would you not think? Was it not the most equipped place to make a vaccine? Most likely.
Why would you provide the place for a human-based vaccine, like the treatment for that, the people, the scientists, all that shit, to an agriculture facility? Like, why would they develop the vaccine for a human-based?
Can you say they were looking at?
Because they were looking at
diseases transmitted by a host.
Yeah, so they were working with the animals,
so they would
right?
be the best ones to develop a vaccine for a disease that's transmitted by a host.
But we have the CDC. There's already the Center for Disease Control in America, right? So why would we not provide the funding to the CDC to create a vaccine to prevent diseases in humans?
Because the disease is more prevalent where they are. They would have more.
The CDC is a federal organization.
Yeah, but you're saying like it just popped up in the States.
So it just popped up.
But it's been there.
We're going, this disease, at that time, they could not prove that it was from ticks. They couldn't prove where it was coming from. They just found out this disease existed.
Okay.
Rather than go to the CDC, they went to the agriculture ministry.
I mean, yeah, if they didn't even know it was from ticks or anything, that's a little sketchy.
Yeah. That's the fact right there.
That's the facts.
I mean, I wouldn't say that's the fact.
Them's the facts.
That's the facts. But Google that. It's really interesting. Plum Island is the facility. You got to check that shit out. And also, there's also, like, rumors that the island of Dr. Moreau by good old Lovecraft was based on Plum Island.
It's where plums come from.
Plum Island.
And Professor Plum from
like
the game Clue.
Yeah.
Not named after the fruit. He's named
Professor
after the
Plum.
island.
On Plum
Lyme
Island
disease,
with
though.
a candlestick.
Lyme disease. American government created it. Google it. It was an accident. I don't think it was malicious. I think it was an accident, but they were just fucking around and accidentally got out with people. That's all I'm saying.
Malicious. You spell that with an I or with a Y?
With an I.
Coming back to it, now to a more reasonable one.
Spelling.
Welcome back to the Linguistics Podcast. How do you spell linguistics? With an I. We're going to talk about some death covering uppins. More specifically, some death covering uppins.
Your linguistics.
With an I, not with a Y. Are you familiar with Sir Paul McCartney?
Yes.
The late, great Paul McCartney.
Yes.
So I guess I already won because I said late, great. Paul McCartney is actually dead. Contrary to popular belief, he died in 1966. Did you know this?
I did not.
He did. He died in 1966. Did you know that in 1966 there was a confirmed car crash involving Paul McCartney?
Confirmed? Okay. I did not know.
Yeah, Paul McCartney got in a car crash in 1966.
Okay.
The details of said car crash are yet to be released to the public.
Okay.
Yet.
Rumor has it.
They should just debunk this right away and release it,
And be
then
like, yeah,
everything would be
he
fine.
scraped his toe.
Yeah, like,
but
got
no,
a
because they
bump on his
can't.
noggin.
They can't. They can't release it because basically he did, Steve. He did. Basically, Paul McCartney died in a car crash in 1966.
Okay.
Right as the Beatles were about to become a big thing. I don't know if you know this. Abbey Road, the big album, released in 1967.
Okay.
Probably the biggest album of all time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Abbey Road?
Yes, I am.
Not the road, I mean the album, not the street
Yes.
in
Yes.
England.
And the cover.
The cover.
Right? You know the
Yeah,
cover?
them walking
Speaking
down
of the cover,
Hey!
Oh, goodness.
one of the biggest clues to the... Can you describe to me the cover of
Is
Abbey
it the
Road?
one of them walking down the street with the lines on the street and they have their legs, like, open?
Yeah, they're all walking down the road,
The
right?
line, yeah.
Let me describe to you more in depth the cover of Abbey Road.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So on Abbey Road, you have John. He's wearing all white, an all white suit, walking down the road.
Okay.
You got Ringo. He's wearing all black,
Okay.
walking down the road. You got George, Mr. Georgie Porgy, with a Y. He's just wearing some blue jeans. Some blue jeans just hanging out, kind of doesn't fit in. Until you look at Paul. He's wearing a suit but no shoes. That seems odd, right? Why would he
Okay.
not be wearing shoes?
What does this have to do
But
with
when you look at the metaphor of
Oh,
it
my
all,
God.
so John's wearing all white as if he were the
An angel?
clergyman. He's a
Clergyman.
clergyman at a funeral.
What the hell's a clergyman?
Ringo's wearing all black because he's a mourner at the funeral. George is wearing jeans because he's the grave digger.
Oh, come on.
And Paul is wearing a suit but no shoes because he's in a casket. So why would he need to wear shoes? He's wearing a nice suit but no shoes.
They always wear shoes when they're buried.
That's a waste of shoes.
Yeah.
It's a waste of a suit, too, but people still put on
Yeah,
a
but
nice
it's an
suit.
open casket.
And when it's open casket, you only see the top
You only
half.
see the top half.
Fair. But you just made this, like... I just want to debunk it right away.
Symbolism.
Oh, come on.
You don't think the Beatles would do that? They are the greatest
Symbolism.
artists ever.
There's a million examples of this where the Beatles clearly did not want anything to do with this, but they're being pushed by major records. Be like, you can if you lose Paul at the very beginning, right? You're screwed. Mm-hmm. Imagine the Beatles without Paul from the get-go.
Yeah.
But how would they get his family and, like...
Here's the thing.
Oh, goodness.
Name a member of Paul McCartney's family.
I don't know. I
You
don't
don't
know
know any
anyone's
of them.
family, though.
You don't know any of them.
Like, why was his mom never interviewed? They were the most famous band in history. I know, like, Tupac's mom,
Okay.
right? Like, he's a famous figure. You think Paul McCartney's mom wouldn't be famous
Yeah,
for
but
raising the
isn't
Paul
Tupac
McCartney?
dead?
So is
As is Paul McCartney.
No, but I'm saying if Paul McCartney's not dead, why would they need to interview his mom? For his mom to be like, yeah, he was great as a kid. I'm so glad he's famous. Woohoo, go my son.
then vice versa, Kanye.
Oh my
But still,
Vice versa.
I don't know what that was.
but like, yeah, if he was that famous, why haven't you seen an interview with any of his family members?
First of all, let me just debunk that bad example. Paul McCartney's mom died in like the 50s.
Oh, so
Oh,
like,
boo!
there you go.
All
Mom
of
was
Paul
a bad
McCartney's
example.
family prior to 1966 didn't exist. His parents were dead, no siblings, no one to relate to him.
Okay.
After his death, he got married, had kids, got divorced,
As you do when you get famous.
got married again.
As you
But-
do when you get famous.
As of his death in 1966, he had no relation to anyone except for the members of the Beatles.
He had no cousins, no aunts, no uncles, no nieces, no nephews, nothing.
No direct family.
Aunts and uncles are pretty direct.
Depends on how British you are.
Yeah.
And he's pretty British. Paul McCartney with a Y, bear in mind.
Okay. Is that it? Is that all you got? Because that
no,
just
he's got
sounds
more.
like more hooey.
It sounds like who he does.
Why
it.
do you think that's Huey? Come on.
Come on. Okay, so then you're saying this other person has taken over for him.
Yes.
Did this other person also have no family?
Here's the plot twist.
Oh, goodness.
Here's where the plot takes a significant turn.
Okay.
Around the same time in 1966, there was a Paul McCartney lookalike contest.
Okay.
It was a big deal. Back when, I guess the Beatles weren't super huge at the time. Hold on, I'm getting a text. So yeah, they had a lookalike contest, 1966. The winner was a William Campbell. A William Campbell who was never heard of again.
Because he's just a freaking Paul McCartney lookalike.
I mean,
why would you hear of
the
him
best
again?
Paul McCartney lookalike.
In a contest for where? Like, how many people were in this contest?
For the biggest band in the world.
So what?
Do you not remember your Much Music
Do you
DJs
know the
from a
names
kid?
of all the Elvis lookalikes that walk around? No.
But if you Google them, you can find them.
I know several.
Do you? That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I did. It's really weird.
But are they the best Elvis lookalike?
I know the fourth best in the world,
Oh
to
my
be
God.
specific.
Oh my god.
But it's not a coincidence. You don't think so? Why do you think?
I think this is people who have nothing better to do but to be like, interesting, and just put this all together.
But why would they never talk about the car crash?
What if I told you?
Why would they? If he clearly is fine, why would they talk about it?
What
Why
if
not
I
say he's
told
fine?
you that one of the
They
members
did.
of the Beatles
They didn't.
recently corroborated the story? What if I told
But
you?
who was it? Who was it?
If you say it's Ringo,
It's Ringo.
Ringo has nothing going for him, so he's gonna come up and be like,
Ringo's much more famous than George. Let's be clear.
yeah,
"Yeah,
What's
but
George's
is
last
George
name?
even alive?"
No, George dead, isn't he?
Yeah,
George's been dead.
George been dead.
come on, that's why
no,
George
George
is
is alive. No, only Ringo and
Yeah.
Ringo
Paul.
and Paul.
Yeah, Ringo
Don't-
and Paul.
He's air quoting over here with Paul.
Paul.
By the way.
Hey man, if Paul McCartney knows who my favorite rappers is, I'm gonna doubt that is the real Paul McCartney.
What?
Well, because there's several. Like Earl Sweatshirt has a story where Paul McCartney approached him and was like, "Yo, I actually listened to your album and it's fantastic."
Is he not allowed to like other music?
But you think Paul McCartney, old man, made the Beatles? Obviously, it's
He's
a
trying to
pseudonym.
still be famous.
No, it's just a fake person.
All right, whatever you guys say. That's
let me post
Debunked.
let me post some more interesting thoughts to you.
okay.
So you look at the Beatles; they're this tightly knit group, right? Couple four British mates just banging about, drinking some beers, singing some songs about strawberry fields. You know. All of a sudden,
Strawberry field.
everything goes awry. John Lennon wants to go solo. Paul wants to go solo. Everything's getting weird. Why is that to
Fucking
happen?
Yoko.
They're about the four best mates you could ever find in the great old jolly old England. Why could that to be? Maybe one of them died and was replaced with William.
Every fucking One Direction split up.
Yeah, that's-
Did one of them die? No.
That's a bunch of angsty teenagers, though.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is the most famous band in the world.
Every band has issues. It doesn't mean that one of them died and it's like a new
And then-
guy.
It
But
happened.
let's say there's one member of the band who wants to leave more than the other ones, and then he mysteriously dies as soon as he leaves the band.
Yeah.
I.e., John Lennon. He leaves the band and all of a sudden, oh, he's dead?
Yeah.
He left
As-
the band because he obviously had an illness.
As if it would be a warning to anyone else who might try and spread the word.
Or maybe Yoko did it all.
Or maybe Yoko hired the impersonator because she was trying to make that bank
Off of Lennon.
off of Lennon.
Did you think about that? Maybe it was all Yoko Ono.
So, moral of the story.
She was the one who actually was involved in the car crash.
Which theory is more convincing? That's a racist Asian driver thing.
I was not at all alluding to that, but
Asian
thank
women
you for
can be
showing
good
that
drivers.
you
Oh,
think
God.
that they cannot. Anyway, if I had to choose between the two, oh god, I don't believe either of these, but I feel like the line is more
The
confusing.
line's more convincing.
Hey, Google the fuck
Oh
out of
my
the
God.
lines of this stuff. No,
Look
for
up
real,
the Paul
though.
McCartney shit. I can't explain it because we're on an audio podcast. If you look at side-by-side pictures of Paul McCartney in 1966 and Paul McCartney in 1967 versus Paul McCartney in 1967 and 2017, oh, it's shocking. Oh, it's shocking, I'll tell you what.
It is kind of creepy. It doesn't make sense. Like, he's not as old as he should be now. That's the
But
stuff that I know.
even if this guy was his lookalike then, he would also have aged and been.
But he was a
Well, what
younger.
I'm trying to say
The guy was a younger
is
lookalike.
The pictures, if you compare facial recognition from the pictures of 1967 to 2017, that looks more alike than the pictures from 66 to 67. So 50 years in the future, those pictures more similar than a year in the future,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
which is weird, right?
Weird, but I
The
still.
chin is slightly angled in a weird way that it doesn't happen normally, as aside from plastic surgery. The eyes are slightly more spread apart. Rather peculiar. But 67 to 2017, they look the exact same.
Moral of the story is.
You know?
Moral of the story is: don't believe the diseases you catch, and don't believe your favorite musicians.
Okay, moral of the
We'll be
story.
back in the break to talk about a different thing.
There you go.
Paul McCartney dead, though. Paul McCartney dead, though. And we're back. We had a good break. We hung out. We had some drinks. We did some hanging out. And we had some drinks. We have one more theory for you each, Christine.
Yeah.
I hope you're ready.
My brain can't take all this.
Nobody fake dies in my next one.
All right.
But people might real die in each of our next ones.
Might real die.
Might real die. But who is to say, really?
All right, let's
What
get
are
her
you gonna
going.
do, you know?
Let me start off. This is my loosest.
All right,
So
Bailey,
let me get this cracking. So,
I got your back on this one, though.
AIDS.
Okay.
What do you know about it?
What do you know about AIDS? Spelled with an I, not a Y.
Is a disease transmitted
By having sex with monkeys?
sex or by blood?
Okay. All right.
Bodily fluids entering your system?
Yes.
Well, what would I say if the CIA intended those bodily fluids to infect you with the AIDS?
What would be... Okay.
Because
Okay.
the CIA developed AIDS. All right?
Okay.
So, it's a funny thing that AIDS, when it was introduced in the 80s, only affected the minority populations of North America, i.e., African Americans and homosexuals, because they did say that it was only affected through homosexual sex, as well as unprotected sex, which at the time we stereotyped the African American population to be doing. Now, at the same time, the good old Russians, once again,
Always the Russians.
were creating other viruses, and they did admit that they overhyped AIDS a little bit, right? So,
Who, the Russians?
the Russians. They overhyped AIDS so that they could bring focus onto America for being shitty people
Okay.
and having AIDS there, because Russia didn't have AIDS, apparently.
It's too cold for AIDS.
It's too cold for AIDS. So then, once
It
again,
gets cold if you don't wear a condom.
why were AIDS? Why were AIDS? Why was AIDS only a big deal in America, Christine, as a scientist?
I don't know. That's a good question, I suppose. I
Who's
feel
to
like
say?
everyone else was in denial.
Denial. So are we in agreement now, or what is AIDS now?
AIDS is everywhere.
Is AIDS everywhere?
Yeah.
Is it? Because Magic
Yes.
Johnson's still alive.
Magic Johnson is. Are you familiar with Magic Johnson?
Wait, what does him being alive have to do? I'm saying AIDS is still... Just because people aren't dying from it doesn't mean it's not everywhere.
Would you say that AIDS is a deadly disease?
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's deadly anymore now that they have
Why, though?
medications
But
to
the
treat,
medication-
not treat,
It's
but
very treatable.
it's not treatable,
Manageable?
it's manageable
Through what?
medication.
What kind of medication?
They call it a... Oh, what's the word for it?
It's like an immune booster.
So
There's a word for it's
But-
a mix. It's a mix of like
I
5 or
do
6
believe
different
you. I do
medications.
believe you. But who can afford those medications? Only the wealthy, right?
I'm pretty sure that.
No, AIDS medication is super expensive.
So then that's where the
But are
conspiracy
you hearing of
theory
people
falls in.
dying from AIDS lately?
No, but in the 80s you did when this was introduced,
Okay.
and it was a highlight issue through the 80s and the 90s, right? And the only people that could afford this
They didn't even
supposed
have
vaccine
medication.
were the wealthy.
Vaccine?
No, they
Whoa,
were.
there's no vaccine.
Well, so vaccines were
Antiretroviral?
yeah,
Is that the term you were looking for?
yeah.
No, I was looking
Because
for something
somehow Magic
Super
Johnson
bored.
caught AIDS in the 80s and is still alive to this day, but supposedly hundreds of people died from it
The
in
dude
America.
from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
else. Yeah,
Tom
oh,
Hanks.
tons of people definitely died from it.
But somehow, good old like the wealthy that caught AIDS are still alive. Fucking goddamn
Well,
Charlie
yeah,
Sheen's still
you're
alive.
able to get
Charlie Sheen had AIDS.
for any disease. If you're wealthy, you're much more able to get entry, especially in the States
the
where you have to
States,
pay for
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Any diseases like that, even diseases that are not by the CIA.
So
Well,
then,
the question is more of... Let me make your argument, Bailey, because clearly you're not in a position to do it. The
I know what
question
you're going
is-
to. Shush up.
The question is not about whether who can treat the disease better. If you look at the affected population of the disease, who would target it most? Is people look at... AIDS was mostly regarded as the gay disease. Gay people were the main people who got...
Due to the nature of how their sexual intercourse
Of butt
works.
fucking?
Because, yeah,
But now we know
you're
that's...
more likely to...
Now we know
have-
that's not the truth, though, right? We know that's not how it's... The HIV virus is not generally transmitted through only anal sex,
Well,
right?
no.
So then why was that stereotype put upon homosexual males?
Because you think about the way anal sex works, you're most likely getting tears, which has blood. You're now having, if someone has blood, a diseased person has blood, that's being exposed to a person who is there. Like, you know what I mean?
Would you not argue that heterosexual people have anal sex as well?
Oh, of course, yeah.
So then why is it stereotyped towards homosexuals?
Because everyone hated homosexuals back then. For everything.
So would you not say that then that's a stereotype put upon them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But they okay, I don't want to say they had a reason to put the stereotype, but I'm saying, like, that was their...
You're saying that gay people are more likely to have anal sex than straight people.
Yes, because that is the way that they have sex. That is their only option, yeah.
But then why was all the propaganda against the idea that, like, it's a gay disease, as Jeff said?
It was referred to as, like, the gay disease.
Why didn't they just say, don't have anal sex?
Don't fucking
Because, okay, if you...
Because if you just say, don't have anal sex, then...
Yes.
Gay people will just suck dick more, I guess.
But they were just trying to find ways to go against...
So we're just going to shit on gay people and black people because they're just trying to find out a way.
Do gay people have more, or black people have more anal sex?
No, they're according to statistics, more likely to have unprotected sex.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll do you.
Jesus Christ. But, so, let's go to the other part. I brought up before we were on mic.
By the way, way to say according to statistics. Good job. I would have not said according to statistics.
You would have just said, they have
and I would have gotten yelled at.
Yeah, no.
And that would have been a problem. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, solid. But, everyone says it came from a human fucking a monkey, right?
Okay.
So I heard it from a comedian.
That's where AIDS came from.
AIDS came from a human.
Some dude fucked a monkey.
Does it have to be a dude fucking a monkey, or could it have been like a dude caring for monkeys and the monkey like tore open his skin and transmitted blood to blood? Like, that's a possibility.
No, you have to have anal sex.
Yeah.
No, yeah, okay.
You have to.
Okay.
You have to. There's no other option.
No, like, that's like the history of AIDS. The dude fucked a monkey.
Yeah, dude fucked a monkey.
100% they know that the dude fucked
They asked
the
him. He's
monkey.
like, yeah.
That's what the U.S.
He was
government
looking
said.
good.
So if it started from butt sex, it's only transmitted by butt sex. But
And gays and the blacks love butt sex.
But my defense, kind of like the Lyme disease, is but still, if it's transmitted by monkeys, taking care of monkeys, whether you're fucking them or not, why did this not happen before? Why did AIDS not arise before?
Because the people were lucky. Whoever was fucking these monkeys before picked the right monkeys.
So you're saying humanity...
So
Not every monkey has AIDS.
So it boils down to luck.
Yeah, we just
I feel-
luckily danced around the
I think,
fickle
yeah,
AIDS.
We dodged the AIDS monkeys.
For literally...
1980.
Yeah,
Or
like...
it hadn't developed yet. Every disease has to start somewhere. It's not just there, right? So it happened to
What
that.
about swine
that
flu?
was the time.
But then what was...
What are you trying to
What about swine flu?
What about it?
What was it before?
Swine flu is naturally existing.
You thinking... Yeah.
Much like the HIV.
The heavy. Hit him with the heavy.
With a Y and an I. Fun fact.
Like, if it exists in livestock and animals before, even as a pre-existing disease, right? So HIV existed before AIDS. Why did we already not diagnose HIV as something that could be transmitted through anal sex or through livestock treatment?
Science was garbage back
Science
in the
was
old days.
garbage back then.
It was a lot, like, they
If you ask
probably...
Albert Einstein, I
if
bet
you
he'd say,
look
like,
back
the
in the
science
day,
is
they
big
probably
garbage.
were like, oh, animals get these diseases and people get these diseases. And then all of a sudden, someone got it, and they're like, how did this come about? And he's
This
like,
is
oh, I
an
had
animal
some sketchy activity with a monkey. Maybe that could have... And they're like, wait a minute, we
Yeah,
should look
fuck
into
George
this.
over there. He was real curious, and I'm like, okay,
George
we'll
is
go.
experiencing the same things I'm experiencing, and I'm starting to think that maybe my sexual
I was a
intercourse
little
with
bit
him
too
had to do
curious.
with this.
Oh, jeez.
Shouldn't have wore that yellow hat.
Okay, I think we're done talking
That's my
about butt
deep on-
fucking
Appreciated my
monkeys.
bit. It took me a long time
Yeah,
to
I
do
liked
that.
it.
I appreciate that bit.
This is a good bit. This is a good bit.
I wasn't thinking about George, but the yellow hat, that got me.
Yellow
That
hat
got
tied it all
me.
together.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, you're going to hate mine, Christine. You're going to fucking hate it.
God.
Sorry, I'm just the worst of fetishes. Like trying to meet a new girl, it's like just put this this yellow hat
Just
on.
put on this yellow hat.
In this raincoat.
Be real curious, please.
Don't say my name. Just refer to me as the man in the yellow hat.
Okay, continue.
My name is George. I'm very curious.
What's your theory or your...
So I'm going to pose some questions first, as I always like to do. Are you familiar with the chemical fluoride?
Yes.
What does fluoride do in applications as opposed to dental health?
It protects your teeth.
How? Do you know?
I don't actually really know.
You don't really know. No one seems to know.
I mean, I feel like someone knows, but
maybe
like,
a dental professional who makes more
I think
than
it
they probably
protects
should.
your enamel. I want to say
Going on a limb.
something about cavities.
Something about cavities.
Something about cavities.
Something about cavities. What if I told you cavities have been on an upswing exponentially?
Due to the amount of sugar that exists in our population? Yes, I would agree with that.
But what about the fluoride intake?
Yeah.
What about it?
Fluoride was introduced not too long ago into our water supply.
Okay.
Not too long.
I feel like it's not too long.
It was like maybe 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, okay. And there's just been so many cavities
So
in the
many
last
cavities in the last 4 weeks.
It's in the
Dentists are making bank.
Making bang. Mainly the gays and the blacks are getting cavities.
Due to all the anal sex. Anal sex will get
Anal
cavities.
sex will cause cavities.
You heard it here first, kids.
There's a lot of sugar in butt sex.
Why do you think Magic Johnson
Magic
doesn't
Johnson doesn't get cavities.
full of cavities?
You know what? There's probably a lot of sugar in.
What?
Are you making a semen joke?
Yes.
You're making a semen joke. If you suck some dick, you'll get some cavities.
That's what happens.
So you need fluoride.
Let's say I haven't had a single cavity. Bailey, you cavities?
No cavities.
No cavities yet. Christine? All right, that'll do.
Hey.
Moving on.
Moving on. So the theory that lies is kind of twofold, I suppose. It depends how deep into the dark web you go. I'll start with the first one. Fluoride is basically, the simplest way to put it is it's poison. Fluoride is basically poison. You can make arguments to say that the same way that mercury is in vaccines, that like it's, if you put it at a reasonable level, it's not going to cause any detrimental harm to you. Mm-hmm. But fluoride was officially listed as a neurotoxin.
At what level?
The FDA.
No. At what level
At
of
what part per million?
ingestion? Yeah.
There's no quantifying,
So why are
level.
dentists making us swish it around in our mouths for 30 seconds?
because you don't consume it.
I mean, you still have some sick in your mouth and you're going to consume it.
Yeah, but that's an inconstitutable number. In the same way that
I wouldn't agree with that.
I'm not asking for your opinion.
Okay.
I'm just stating some facts.
Okay.
There's very few chemicals that are listed on as neurotoxins. I'm gonna post some examples
Okay.
as like known things.
Okay.
There's like obviously like, oh yeah, fucking poison. Poison's a bad one. Poison's a real thing. There's no like term for poison.
Just poison. Just any type of
Arsenic
poison.
is on the list.
Yeah.
Lead is on the list.
Okay.
Bad things. You don't want those things in
There's
your body.
no parts per million for any of those.
No,
It's
not a
just-
one. It's just you don't want that
It's
in your
like,
body.
don't have fluoride, don't have arsenic.
Don't have arsenic.
Okay.
Not a one. Not a one.
Okay.
The second, if we delve deeper, if you go into some deep shit, if you look at what quantifies something as a neurotoxin, it's not just a poison. It doesn't just break down what it does to your brain. It can also alter facets of cognitive thinking.
Are you just putting words together?
No, it's all written down. That's a quote.
Okay.
The
You
pause
said
is-
it doesn't break down brain things.
The second part was the quote,
Okay.
where I used larger words, where I
Facets.
didn't,
The facets.
where I didn't say things.
Okay.
Facets.
Facets. If you look at how they do chemical warfare and things like that, Nazi scientists looked into fluoride as a way of mind control. Because if you use fluoride in high enough doses, you can break down cognitive recognition of basically obedience control.
Okay.
So if you basically expose patients to high doses of fluoride, and they were like, okay, I'm going to give you this command, and the obedience level to direct commands was higher than those who weren't exposed to fluoride.
Okay.
So if you look at a reason for, like, why do you think they put fluoride in our water? Strictly because it betters your teeth?
Yeah, I guess so.
But if you look at the way capitalism works, right? Like, all of capitalism is to improve the economy, and if you look at dentistry as a business to add money to, why would they want to help you benefit your teeth? As much as you want to say, like, yeah, like, the government's trying to help you in every facet, why would they pick one specific thing that's not covered by OHIP? They're going to be like, okay, this thing, we're gonna throw in some fucking chemicals in the water. Don't worry, it makes your teeth better. There's no proven science. There's no anything that says fluoride makes your teeth grow better. There's
nothing that proves it. So why...
There's things that prove it, but not to a degree that would cause mass...
Someone to put it in the... I see
like, not just to be like, okay, yeah, we'll throw it in bottles of water. We're going to throw the whole water supply. We're going to put fluoride in the whole water supply to a degree where a mass amount of Europe banned it. You can't add water... You can't add fluoride to the water supply in most of Europe.
Yeah.
It's not okay. It's a mainly North American thing. That is, it seems super ludicrous that everyone's accepted the fact that, okay, no, they told me it's okay. It must be okay. But even though, if you look at most of the European Union, you look at Germany, you look at England, you look at Switzerland, you look at Sweden, you can't put any additives into water. You can filter water, you can get all the bad parts out of it, but you can't add anything into it. Because the research is still out on a lot of these things. So to look at something like, okay, yeah, we've got this chemical, it's like, yeah, we'll tell you it does some good. There is some studies that show that fluoride does some good for your teeth. But there's also a lot of studies that show that it's a neurotoxin and it does some detrimental damage to your brain and your cognitive process. So the real question is why do you think they would add something like fluoride in if it seems like such an extra step into making water better for very little added gain, very little proven added gain.
Yeah.
So my argument is the only logical reason they would do that is because they're trying to create a dumbed-down society where the neurocognitive aspect of decision-making is broken down. The only logical reason they could be doing that is to dumb down society. Is if you know that, okay, it's been proven, it's been tested, that, okay, we give them this poison, which has been proven to be a neurotoxin, it's proven to be poison, parts per million put aside. It's something that they ingest every day. Say it's a high enough part per million, like, it's obviously lower than something as that of arsenic. Arsenic's going to have a very low part per million that makes it a neurotoxin.
Oh, yeah.
Say fluoride's way higher, but how much water do you consume in a day compared to how much arsenic you consume in a day?
My question
Sure.
here would
Pose
be...
it.
Okay, if we were to study... Because you said it's this obedience thing, right?
Yeah.
So if we were to study the amount of people who, like, went along with things when there wasn't fluoride in the water to now where... There's a lot of shit going down against the government.
Yeah, like what?
But the thing is...
protests and... Why are you making a face at protest?
Continue.
All of our generation,
But
that's
have
just
they
like
tried-
everything you
And
say
we're
is
really
wrong
being
and all these,
disobedient?
like, I would say...
But
How
the thing
so?
is, everything
sorry.
that's being
Sorry.
done
I
is
would
being
say.
followed a direct directive. You know what I mean? Like, no one's disobeying quote-unquote commands.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to, like... Everyone's on one side. You're being told to think one thing, and they're thinking a different thing. More than 50% of the media, who is more or less the people who are giving you commands, is anti-Donald Trump. So if you look at the U.S., you're more or less posing U.S. as an example, I assume. Where you look at the civil unrest that's in the U.S. right now. Where you can't look at that as an example because it's a bipartisan system that's split 50-50. You don't have one prime directive where people are telling you, okay, this is what everyone needs to think. Everyone who has a controlling voice is going to tell the mass majority, this is what you're going to do. Because right now, everything is split, either you're right wing or you're left wing. If you listen to this, you're left wing, here's your thoughts. You're going to hate Donald Trump. If you're right-wing, you're going to be like, Donald Trump's the shit, jerk him off right now, that'll be great. You're on this thing, think that thing.
Help us build the wall after.
Help us build the wall, you're going to grab a shovel, Grandma, do whatever you can. But because there's no unified voice, everyone who is receiving a directive is following that directive. I'd say people are definitely more opinionated than they used to be. Mm-hmm. Like, people are much more passionate about things than they used to be. How many people are getting up and protesting about things is not a point that they're not following orders. It's about a part that they are. Because they're not having an opinion to do that. No one's standing up and being like, you know what, I'm going to take a stand and do what nobody else is doing. Everyone is basically doing what they're told, not by the politicians, but by who's really in charge, which is the media.
I don't know.
People look at it and they think, okay, the politicians are in charge. They're going to be like, okay, I'm in charge. I'm going to pose this idea. I'm going to make everybody follow this. But the politician has, like, Donald Trump has a very small voice. He can only pose his opinion, and that's presented to you by the media, which is split more or less 50-50.
Okay, but if this was their plan all along, for this to be the reason that that's there, they would have made plans that there would be one unifying voice have everyone.
I'm saying it's a fail-safe.
So that they can, if they need to, that's what you're trying to say?
If need be, all shit goes down in a martial law scenario. Mm-hmm. Everything, all hell breaks loose. We go into fucking war with Russia. The left and the right can combine, and they don't need to apply conscription to be like, everyone, this is what's happening. Russia's fucked. We need you all to join the army. And everyone will join.
That's the scary part where I agree, because maybe I'm too much of a radical, but like, what happened to revolution, right? When he says the sides aren't divided, is now it may not be due to fluoride specifically, but we're all sitting in a cognizant position. We're all sitting in a position where we all fit into a side of the spectrum, but no one's thinking about creating a new system. Everyone's figuring out how to fit in within the system that we have structured. Mm-hmm. So, yes, exactly that. If you go to the utmost extreme of the fact, nuclear bombs coming, Russia's fucked us, World War III is coming, no matter our political ideologies, we're all still going to fall in line.
It's their failsafe. It's their trump card. No pun intended. No pun intended. But you can use that once.
Yeah. So why not
save it for
treat your population to be prepared and easier for you to create a demand on when that demand comes, right? Why not be prepared?
And I'm saying it's building, right? Like you have like fluoride in the water. I'm not sure the date, but it's not super old, right? It's been around for 40 years.
Yeah.
Fluoride in the drinking supply.
Yeah.
Christine's getting up to Google it. But let's say, for example, at most it's 60 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have a population who hasn't been consuming that their whole life. Let's say it is 60 years. You're waiting till, from birth, every single person has consumed that their whole life. So, ideally, at an infant stage, when you're at your primary development, that's when you're going to be forming all of your ideologies. Did you find any answers?
I'm looking at the moment.
No, the funny part is that because I grew up in the country in Alberta, right? I remember being told as a kid that I had more cavities because I wasn't using enough fluoride. Specifically fluoride. Because we didn't have fluoride in our water treatment in Alberta.
You know, I didn't even... Sorry, this is like...
No, it's okay.
Just came to me.
Go off.
But, okay, you were saying earlier, why put this thing in to help teeth when it's not even an OHIP thing, blah, 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 all that.
Yeah.
But, like, issues with your teeth that go untreated, which often teeth issues do because most people can't afford to pay for that, lead to much more serious issues. Heart disease, kidney problems, all that stuff. So they're in turn actually helping themselves save money from hospitals from having to treat people of an issue that's so easily treated by adding fluoride to the water to prevent tooth decay.
But the thing is that those
Why
usually
can't they
get
just
treated.
say that then? Why can't they provide us with the facts?
Everyone should have the facts.
Like
anytime you go to a dentist, tooth problems lead to much bigger
but who's
problems.
told me that fluoride solves that problem?
Well, in a roundabout way.
I'm okay with the idea of using toothpaste. I'm okay with the idea
Yeah,
of adding
yeah.
chemicals to our water, but we're talking about fluoride. What dentist has told me the fluoride in your toothpaste is going to be the one that prevents the cavity that causes heart disease.
All right, so here's the thing. Here's the date I came up with.
And, sorry, just to quickly
Yeah,
say.
just come out.
Yeah, I'm going to cut you off. They do defluoridate, if that's the correct verb, the water if it gets above a certain amount.
Yeah.
They have a limit that
Because
the World Health Organization has a limit to the fluoride. So why, like...
Because there's a certain limit that is directly toxic, that can literally kill you.
And when you're talking about the World Health Organization, they moderate, don't offer decrees. So even if, in that case, the World Health Organization is just going to moderate how much we put out to our population, it's not necessarily say yes or no. The World Health Organization is like a governing body, just like the UN decrees approves or declines a war, right? You're going to kill each other no matter what, but it could be UN approved or not.
The thing is because, like I said, it's a neurotoxin, right? Like, so it has differing levels as opposed to the parts per million that's involved in it. So in a small dose, it might have small, unrecognizable effects. But in a certain amount, it can cause lasting damage. It can cause a predisposition to strokes, or it can cause things to that degree, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, the World Health Organization sees things like that, like, oh, fluoride levels are up in this area. There's been negative aspects. Okay, we've traced this to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can measure short-term effects. But anyway, the stat I was going to tell you, by 2006, 69% of the U.S. population on public water systems were receiving fluoridated water. So let's say it started in 2000, to be generous.
Okay.
So that's 17 years.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, the mass population hasn't been fluoridated since birth.
Yeah.
So, the amount of the effects are not to be seen yet. If there was to be sinister effects, as I'm implying, they're yet to be seen. Anyway, moral of the story, Christine, who posed the more convincing argument, me or Bailey? Do you remember Bailey's?
I don't even remember.
I posed a good fluoride
Talking
argument.
about AIDS by the CIA. That's fluoride. I believe in fluoride more, but he argued it better than I could ever.
Honestly, I can't pick which one because
they both sound
ridiculous. They both are debunkable. If I had time to research these like you guys did, the things I would have been able to say.
You want to see my notes for the fluoride one?
I have no way to stand.
It's fuck all.
But I didn't even look up. I didn't look any scientific papers up. I don't know where you got your information from.
But I'm super
mostly Wikipedia.
Super anti-chemicals.
I think this is the time for me to say, I don't believe any of my conspiracy theories. Not a one.
Yeah.
Maybe. What was my first one? I forget. Something good. Moon landing. Don't believe it. Yeah. Paul McCartney. Maybe. Probably not.
Nah.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
That's the least believable of the three.
I don't think so.
That's the least. And I'm like, maybe. Fluoride, that's probably not mind control. It's probably poison. It's probably bad for you.
Yeah.
But, like, all chemicals are bad for you, let's be honest. Don't ingest chemicals that are added to things. Buy a Brita filter, you'll be fine. Don't give me that look, because I never drink filtered water.
The bigger issue with all that shit is that it's not an idea of, like, the government's trying to fuck us. I think it's a complacency issue of we're going, like, this is how it's always been, so let's not look at it.
That's all I'm trying to point out. I'm trying to point out, don't believe everything you see.
Yeah. That's all.
There's more to the world than
do your research, people.
Because if someone wanted to fuck you over and you had the same beliefs, you'd be fucked. If someone poisoned your water and you're like, no one wants to do me harm, you're fucked. If someone's like,
of course, yeah.
If someone's gonna be like, oh, we'll add this thing called schmarsenic. It's not arsenic.
It's got a schmarshmallow in front.
It's got a schmarsh. It's not bad.
It's a little bit sweet.
We're just gonna put that in Big Macs. That's in Big Macs now.
Yeah.
Only gays and blacks eat Big Macs, so
fuck them.
Yeah. So,
Bailey, do you believe your conspiracy theories?
I believe only in the Lyme disease. Otherwise, I like the aliens, but the hacker seems like iffy. If I'm going to talk about aliens, he's the most believable one because he's the only one that said, like, I'm probably wrong and there's a good chance of it.
I'll believe this guy because he's pretty sure he's wrong. And that's pretty noble of him to admit that he might be wrong.
Yeah, he's quite noble.
So
Then again, the guy who said Paul McCartney died,
oh, God.
he said he might be wrong, so...
So that's
could be wrong.
plausible theory.
Then I got AIDS. AIDS, I'm willing to agree with you that
That's probably wrong.
that HIV naturally developed as a virus and just turned into AIDS. Like,
Christine was her best scientist at that moment.
Thank you.
And she's like,
I was really happy when I came up with that
viruses
point.
do naturally develop over time.
Yeah.
There wasn't like, hey, we were little specks on the earth and we had every virus that's ever existed was just sitting there waiting to go.
Yeah, it's not a virus, it's a word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why the AIDS thing is like,
Yeah.
But still, magic. The wealth.
The wealth?
The wealth.
With an F or a TH?
With a TH. The wealth issue is still a thing because it's like, Magic Johnson survived, but many motherfucking people died from it.
Yeah.
So
but that's like anything.
But then once again, it's a complacency issue. Why are these treatments not available to the general public?
Yeah. It's the same as their EpiPens are like ridiculously expensive. Oh, so like if my kid has an anaphylactic reaction.
You know what's my favorite about EpiPen? Did you hear like the news? I just interrupted you right the fuck up.
Yeah.
But
okay, I interrupted you earlier.
it's good news.
The under 25 thing?
No.
Oh.
They just made it. They made it the law that like you need to have 2 EpiPens in schools. And like right after that came out, EpiPens jacked the price right the fuck up. And the biggest person who lobbied for it was the owner of EpiPens. So she just made bank.
God damn.
Like she went to Congress and was like, "You need to have like at least 2 EpiPens in schools at all times." Like, you know what? You're right. And she went back to the shareholders. She's like, "Let's fucking triple the price. They're gonna have to put 2 of these in each school."
We hope to God that 3 kids don't have an anaphylactic reaction all at the same time, because then they're fucked.
Well, the thing is, those have like a very small expiry date.
Yeah.
So they gotta keep replacing those.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah,
Those are the biggest
and like
thing
realistically,
about
like
administering.
Realistically, they should say these should be covered by the government, because I can't even speak for...
the government is covering it. The government is paying that fee.
Yeah.
The government has to pay that fee because it's a school board.
It's a school, I see.
But the government is paying into Big Pharma.
Into Big Pharma, yeah.
Exactly.
No, it's fucked.
And Big Pharma's making bank.
All in all, my biggest issue is just, why are we not thinking about revolution? We all just fit into the same side of, this is the way things are. It's
It's fucked.
No one thinks about
Don't
change.
believe everything you hear, guys.
I find it's more not complacency, but it's just the laziness. Like, nobody's like, hey, I want to go start a protest, because, like, this is something that
Everyone
I can do.
does what everyone else is doing. That's the problem. Be different.
Be different. Don't be lazy.
Suck the day's dick.
All right.
But who was told when you were growing up that you could suck today's dick? I was sure as fuck was not.
The days.
The day's dick?
Not today's dick.
Today's dick?
Suck every day's dick.
I thought you were being like Tony Robbins and being like, take control of your day. Suck its dick.
No, you're going to wake up and suck the day's dick.
Yeah.
Like, this day, you ain't got shit on me. I'm going to suck that dick.
That's how I feel about the world as well. I agree with Jeff.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Suck
You
the
gotta
day's
get up, suck the fuck out of that dick.
Suck that dick.
Keep it rolling.
Suck that
Do it
dick.
again tomorrow.
Yeah,
Do it again
fuck what
tomorrow.
anybody else thinks.
No, you don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow is future Jeffrey's problem. Today, you gotta suck that dick. You go to sleep,
that's
you
the
wake
problem
up.
with the world.
That's exactly the problem with the world. I'm posing contradictory messages.
Yes, you really are.
Think about the future, but also suck the day's dick.
And stand for who you are. Don't drink that fluoride.
Don't drink that fluoride.
Don't drink that fluoride.
Don't get that Lyme disease.
Oh,
Hey,
shit.
Christine, listen to everything you've heard.
Yes.
What's your one takeaway message?
Jeff and Bayley are not scientists.
Yeah, it's fair. I took a neuroscience class in university.
I took the
I have,
psychology of linguistics, so I'm pretty sure I...
Wait, with an I or a Y?
Which one?
Ooh, I think
Okay,
it's a
no,
Y.
my definite takeaway is, like, don't just read an Onion article and post it and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, don't read some shit on Facebook and
'Cause
share it.
I will never forget the day someone, I will not name names.
Make
They
him a
probably
fake
don't
name.
listen to this podcast.
Make him a fake name.
I don't know.
Jeff.
I feel like
Jeff.
she's trying not to look at
Jeff,
me right
no,
now.
it's not you.
It's a woman, let's be honest.
Yes, it was, actually.
Nailed it.
Hey.
Not speaking for all women, but this one particular woman. Anyway, posted a picture from I don't know where, but just said, Subway is trying to kill you. They have dihydrogen monoxide in their bread. Don't eat Subway bread. Posted it and was like genuinely concerned until someone finally had to say, person, that's like the chemical formula for water, and this is a spoof, and you should fucking read shit before you post it, you dumbass. And she just was like, oh, oopsie, and still post shit fucking articles all the time of stupid shit that she didn't read up
So
on.
moral of the story? Maybe think.
Don't post shit for your friends to see unless you know that you're right.
Just put some thought into what you read, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, like, go ahead and read it. But, like, if you're going to go share that to people, like, be educated on it, you know?
Yeah.
That's
There
the
you go.
problem with social
There's
media.
your moral.
There's the moral.
If
Be
you're gonna-
educated. That's the moral.
educated.
Go to
Everyone
school.
get a science degree.
Because
Just learn how to do research. You don't need a science degree, but, like, learn how to research things. Learn what's a real source. Don't look, you know?
It sounds little to us, but we are outliers. Most people don't read.
No.
No, there's like that headline's fucked
yeah,
up.
people read the headline and then meanwhile don't realize it's like a spoof
No,
headline.
okay.
Like,
If you
that's-
share a
ugh.
story without reading the whole story, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
If you share a story and you just read the headline, go fuck yourself.
Unless it's on things that are news content.
As we're preparing.
Unless you listen to this
Yeah.
podcast and you do that, no, that's a good thing to do. Keep doing it.
Yeah, no.
Slide into my DMs at
for
things
sure.
that are news. But
You're
go.
not going to put in the effort to read the article, you probably shouldn't share it to your friends.
Yeah, who the fuck cares?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who the fuck? If you're gonna share something, make sure it's like it's backed, it's informed, and you have a real opinion on a thing.
This is like all those April Fool's articles you were talking about.
All
where,
of
like,
them.
you
Everyone
read the
just
title,
shares April
and then
Fool's
at the end of
articles.
the article it
And
says,
they
this
don't
is April
realize it.
Fool's.
Yeah, because they just share the headline.
Oh,
like, what? This
God.
is crazy. Matt Damon's gonna be fucking dark side. I'm like, look at the fucking date, you illiterate fuck.
Yeah.
I hate this.
And look at the end of the article where it says,
Yeah.
April Fools. So, like, come on, people. Get it together.
People don't fucking read
I,
shit.
I
Do
really did
read.
not think I was that biased until I studied journalism. Like, I thought I was just a weirdo, and then I studied. I was like, holy fuck, people just don't
No.
read past the headline.
People don't. They really
No,
don't.
they don't.
That was my education. I had to figure
Yeah.
out how to write the story so that you could fit everything in the first paragraph in less than 25 words.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all people care
That's
about.
why that's why scientific articles have a synopsis, so that you just read the synopsis and don't bother reading the rest
Yeah.
of it.
You're like, oh, no, I don't agree with this.
Yeah.
That's it.
So be informed,
Anyway.
people.
All in all, educate yourselves.
Educate yourself.
Go
Read.
fuck yourself.
Read.
The world is fucked.
Yep.
Go fuck yourself.
No, that's fine.
Hashtag go fuck yourself.
What we
One
got?
day we'll be on this podcast and I won't be a cynicist. Cynic? Cynic. Probably cynic, right?
Cynicist works.
It's an I with a Y.
Cynicist is like active. Like you're an active cynical.
Oh, I'm definitely active, dude.
Then.
I go and I walk down the street and some guy's like, can you spare some change? I'm like, go fuck yourself, dude.
Oh, fuck.
Get a job, you hippie.
My mom's like, I'm getting baptized. I'm like, go fuck yourself. That's not true. That got real dark.
Anyway.
Mom, if you ever find this podcast, I love you and I cherish you and you're great.
Also,
But,
Sylvie, I support your baptism. Let's go.
you support my mom's
I
baptism?
support your baptism.
The battery's on 5%. Let's get through this. Anywho, we have a question of the day. We need to do a question of the day.
Is the question of the day from the email, or where is it from?
No, the question of the day, someone slid into our DMs.
DMs on the Instas?
Yeah, this one's not a fucking homophobic slur.
I'm
That's
just
good.
asking because the Instas are solid.
The Instas are solid. If you want to follow us on the Instagram, we're at Things That Are News. That's just at Things That Are News.
Yeah. That's
All
it.
one word.
That's it.
It's one word. There's no spaces
One
on
word,
the
no
Instagram.
Spaces. Figure out Instagram if you think that there's spaces.
What's
There's
the
no
question then,
spaces.
good sir?
Oh, this question comes from our friend Jack. He lives in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah.
It's a good name for living in Jacksonville.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
The
pretty
question
fucking
is,
fitting.
if you were posed the option of covering up a conspiracy theory for money or being a conspiracy theory truist, which one would you pick? Christine?
This is very bad, and I might be drunk, but what do you mean by conspiracy theory truist?
You're the person who knows the conspiracy theory. Let's say, for example,
Okay.
the flat earth theory,
Okay.
that the earth is flat. You're the one person who knows that the earth is actually flat.
Okay. Or I could be the one to get money to cover up a conspiracy.
Or you could be the person who say, I'll give you $1 million if you say that the Earth is actually round. Which one do you pick?
Yeah.
Being a woman of science.
I mean, being a woman of science, I would have to be the truest. But money's pretty darn great.
Money, $1 million.
$1 million. No, I think I don't know. I think I'd have to be a truist because like money's great, but I think it would eat me up too much. I'd end up being real sad and stressed out all the time, knowing that like I'm lying.
But you bust your ass your whole life to be a scientist, and you're telling me you're not going to take that deal?
Yeah, you bust your whole life to be a scientist for the exact reason that you can't just lie
That's
about
a good point.
a real thing.
If you build up to that,
yeah.
Let's talk to Big
but fucking
Pharma
$1 million.
about that shit.
we could buy a farm.
I could also end up making $1 million by finally proving that I'm right. I would do everything in my scientific power to prove
Yeah,
it.
but everyone's going to just think you're a kook.
You'll get people on your side.
Yeah, maybe some kooks.
Yeah, sure. Bring on the kooks.
Bring on the kooks.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
Hashtag bring on the... I'm taking the $1 million, 100%.
Yeah, of course you would.
100%.
You're not a man of science.
I'm not a man of science.
Ask Bill Nye, he'd agree with me.
Yeah, but Bill Nye's already making bank.
Okay, ask Bill Nye 10 years ago. Or
He's
more than
making
10
bank.
years ago.
You gotta ask him like 30 years
30
ago.
years ago. Bailey.
He'd be like, no, I'll probably make that bank because I live in this bachelor apartment with me and my wife and 3 kids.
It all depends
All right.
on the fucking...
Because I'm an engineer who doesn't have a job.
It all depends on the topic for me.
Yeah,
Flat
that's
Earth.
fair.
We're going Flat Earth.
Flat Earth?
Flat Earth.
Yeah, you can pay me enough. That's bullshit enough.
Yeah?
Yeah, but I'm not going to do, like, global warming or, like...
That's the thing. Is it something that's going to end up harming people? Like, are we
Yeah.
No, we're saying Flat Earth.
flat?
Flat
But
Earth,
like,
then yeah.
how you can't even use flat Earth? There's literally pictures
That's
of
why.
the Earth.
That's why I'll
Like-
take the Flat Earth money. I'll take it and be like,
Yeah, like if
Google.
it's something like that, where like literally, like if you have common sense that, you, but then would I have to like go activate for be an activist for this? Like I have to go
Still the
stand
right
up
word.
and be
No,
the
the thing
idiot
is-
who says the
No,
Earth is
anytime
flat.
anyone asks you, you can't, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, say you accidentally become the spokesperson for the Flat Earth theory.
Oh God.
You get brought on
Shaq.
the Jimmy Kimmel show, and you can't say no. You gotta go
Yeah.
on national television and be like, no, the Earth is flat. And they're like, why do you think? I'm like, it's flat. What do you... If you look at the horizon, you can see the tops of buildings look pretty level, you know?
Like the
I could
tobacco
not.
people.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I feel like you'd snap.
I would snap 100%. I couldn't. That'd be
Yeah,
too
you're
much
not that
stress.
good of a liar.
I'm not a good liar. I'd be on there like, yeah, for sure.
That's the
it's
thing. I
so
like to say,
flat.
like, I do it, but I'm a garbage liar.
Yeah, like they'd be like, we're not going to pay you now because like we saw how bad.
I'd go on and I'd be like, you know, the Earth's super flat, guys. Like,
I'm not being
just
sarcastic
take a look at how flat it is, you know? Like, if you just look at it, you ever looked at a map, that's how the Earth looks.
Yep.
Like, we're going to
Mappy.
take that $1 million back now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I tried my best.
Yeah, you didn't say I had to be good at it.
You know,
Yeah, there you go.
Flat Earth. Flat Earth's scary. Scary. We're scary. We're scary.
Yeah.
Think we just turn around on the edge every time?
Bailey, do you have a would you rather question for us?
I do have a would you rather. I'm going to pose it directly to Christine to make this easier.
Oh goodness. Okay.
Just for you.
Just because we're both nerds, that's the main issue. I feel like we both
Okay.
have definitive decisions.
Okay.
And we can say something here, but I want to hear yours.
Okay.
Okay. So, would you rather, like, have you seen Lord of the Rings?
No.
Have you seen a fantasy movie? Like any fantasy universe movie
Like
ever?
Avatar? I don't know yet.
Yeah, like
Okay,
Avatar. Somewhere there, it's a crazy universe. Magic exists. Weird shit exists. It's medieval
Narnia.
ages. Yeah, Narnia. There is
Narnia is a good example.
Yeah,
Alright.
Narnia. Fantasy like Narnia. No
Yeah.
laser weapons. No scary shit.
Yeah.
Right? Would you rather exist in a world like Narnia, Lord of the Rings, World of Warcraft, or
Okay.
the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Right? So would you rather exist in a world where superheroes are just fucking your major city up constantly, fucking goddamn Iron Man just blowing shit up left, right, and center? Or would you rather have, like, orcs and wizards fighting around you and weird tree gods that you can't even comprehend? Like, which is worse, superheroes or, like, ancient?
I'm down to live in a Marvel universe for sure.
You're down?
Yeah. Because, like, at the end of the day, like, they're there to help you if you're, like, a good person.
But there's quite the amount of villains.
Yeah,
quite-
but like they're
and-
there.
and-
There's also villains in our world. Fucking people are getting raped and robbed and beaten every day. Just because they don't have powers doesn't mean that they're not garbage
But
people.
for every hero, there's 47 villains. That's the math.
Yeah.
But at the end of those movies,
Thank you for agreeing with the
usually,
math.
Thank you.
yeah, at the end of those movies, usually it works out for the
At the
general
end.
population.
No, it
Yeah.
works out for the heroes.
Yeah, you're scared, but I'd be just as scared as all these like crazy like
Did you see
orcs and
Avengers?
shit that can just like
Did you see Avengers: Age of Ultron, where a whole city gets blown up?
yes.
Yeah.
So-
Imagine you live in that city.
So what I
Yeah,
was
but
co-
like, what are you gonna do?
what I was
There's also
contrasting
wars
I don't live in
here.
that city,
There's
so-
wars in our regular world.
what I was contrasting to him is the first Avengers. Imagine watching the first Avengers and then the Marvel TV series exists. So your city already got blown up by aliens. You got a blind dude running around beating up people and a black dude with impenetrable skin.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be down for it either.
No.
I'd be like, I kind of want some peace here. Like, I'm down for the superheroes, but like, please don't do it here.
Yeah, but look what they're doing. Like, okay, you look at
But
Luke
wizards,
Cage.
wizards,
he's like
wizards.
preventing robberies and like getting at the overall like mobs and all that shit.
But
Getting
how,
at
as an
controls.
average citizen, how would you trust them? How do you know he's even doing that?
'Cause, I mean, at
You
that
just
point,
see
you
a
would
clip
know.
Yeah, how
of him
would
on
you
the
know?
news beating the shit out of that dude in the middle of the goddamn street, and you don't know what's
Yeah,
good.
you wouldn't know.
Stryker, not Stryker. What's the bad guy?
You know when he saves you from harm.
Diamondback.
Diamondback.
Yeah.
Diamondback. You see just Luke Cage beating the shit out of Diamondback.
Yeah.
You don't know what the fuck's good. You just think Luke Cage is a scary man.
Yeah, I'd be just as scared as like a wizard or.
And he's quite black.
Oh my god.
But at least
No, I don't know. Like, you have to like anything. You gotta be like, all right, let's see how this goes. We'll see what he does. If he's around me and doesn't kill me and helps me from harm, then he's a good guy.
I mean, I feel like you'd be much more scared than that. You're like, look at this guy who's fucking bulletproof.
Yeah.
That's fucking terrifying.
After you've seen
Yeah.
the Hulk on TV.
Okay,
Yeah.
the Hulk's
After
pretty
you've seen
scary
what the
one.
Hulk can do on TV.
And you're like, oh, there's just a random guy roaming about our streets, just wearing a hoodie,
Yeah.
and he's bulletproof. And I don't
Yeah.
know what he's all about.
But the thing is, you live in that. You're saying I live in that world
You
where
live
they're
in that
all
world.
around. Like, I think at the age that I am,
Yeah, sure.
they'd
You
be
are
known.
the age that you are.
They'd be known that they are. Like, are you saying I'm just all of a sudden
You're in a
thrown into a world
you're
where
thrown in a
nobody knows
Marvel
who
universe.
anyone is?
You're thrown into
Yeah.
that world.
Yeah, but if I'm thrown into that world,
As
the
an
people in that
average
world
citizen.
would be like, "Don't worry, like they're here to help us." And I'd be
No,
like,
you
"Sweet."
you
You
know
don't
who
know.
they are, but you're treated as an average citizen, right? So you're treated as
Yeah.
the person who just
We're saying the
sees shit
people
on
in the
news.
Luke Cage world don't all trust Luke Cage.
Because they just see him on
Yeah.
the news. Right? How the fuck you supposed to
Until
know the
Method Man raps. Once Method Man raps, you're like, I don't know.
He's just another hood dude.
Bulletproof
Come on.
love.
Yeah.
Bulletproof love. He may have brought Biggie up, but I don't know because I haven't seen the video proof.
But are you saying
I
that
just saw
if
him
you
make
got thrown
movies
into
with Redman.
wizards and fucking whatever world, that you'd be like,
That'd
"Oh,
be much scarier.
yeah, like
That'd be
they're
way
doing like
scarier.
some crazy shit."
See,
like,
but that's why I would rather choose a fantasy world because it's accepted universally and everyone just goes, magic is a thing. There's some weird
What?
green dudes.
That's a bad
everyone
logic.
just says real magic is a thing. Like everyone's just like, "Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine." Then you can just like shoot stuff
I
out
would
of his
rather
hand
have
and, like,
everyone
mind
universally
control
agree.
me.
Like we watched Doctor Strange.
Yeah, and the
And-
reason I was like, I don't think I'm going to be into this movie is because I was like, magic is so
But
ridiculous.
in the Marvel universe, magic exists.
Yeah. So it's
yeah,
you gotta
I
take
see
the
what
bad
you're
with the
saying. I
good.
see what you're saying.
So like
I-
anything is still possible in that universe.
Yeah,
I would
but
rather
the people
be
with
Doctor
the magic
Strange.
or
But there's bad guys.
yeah, there's bad
There's
guys.
Dormammu.
Yeah, like I
Or
would
man.
rather be the person who sits there in that world going like, okay, magic real, this is real. I got some weird green people over there. Got the Hulk over here. I got orcs over there, and you just, alright, this is my reality. Then being in like New York City in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and all of a sudden like I'm chilling with my girlfriend, and Iron Man flies by and just accidentally fires a missile into my apartment and kills my girlfriend.
Yeah,
Then I'm gonna be angry as fuck
I mean,
for the rest of my life.
just as often a wizard could just fucking like zap you with a spell.
At least I
because
acknowledge
he
that
tried
the,
to-
the wizard is a thing. Otherwise, Iron Man I have no control over.
You have no control over the wizard either.
But the wizard is like a magical being, right? In a fantasy era where he's bad.
But you're okay. You're saying it's fantasy,
when
but if you're living in that world, it's not fantasy. That's your real life. You're living in that, and any repercussions are just the same as your real life. And now you're in a forest and have no house.
I like a forest.
You're just living in the forest, or in Narnia, it's just winter, and you're like, well, I'm wearing shorts, so fuck.
But if that's all you know, that's better than being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and having your shit just destroyed by aliens all willy-nilly because they hate the Avengers.
Well, anyway, Christine, I'd like to thank you for being on the podcast. This has gone way out of hand. It's been a fun time. Anyone who wants to follow the podcast, you can follow us on Instagram at Things That Are News. Yeah. We're also on the Facebook, also at Things That Are News.
Yeah.
You can email us on the Gmail, thingsthatArenews@gmail.com.
Yeah.
If you want to look us up on the iTunes or on the Podomatic, we're also at Things That Are News. Basically, just look us up anywhere. You can Google Things That Are News. Yeah. If you go on AskJeeves.com, look up Things That Are News. It'll show you my exact address. You can mail me a picture of a thumbs up. That'd be good.
You can show up and have dinner.
You can just show up at my house. I'll serve you some chicken parm. That'd be good. Let me know what you like for dessert ahead of time because I like to be prepared. But I think that's about it. If you have any closing thoughts, Christine?
No, I think this is a productive podcast.
Productive, right?
Yeah.
We learned some things about science. I'm glad everyone was involved.
Yep.
Thank you for helping me save the world.
Oh, God.
Bailey didn't watch the Bill Nye Show. For anyone who did watch the Bill Nye Show,
they're all laughing. They're all like, yeah.
Join us next week when we'll talk about a different